Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
We are back here in Carolina. Now let's go down to the field for an update with Jennifer Hale. Jennifer, what's going on?
Sam, so much injury adversity for this Carolina defense. Ron Rivera told me he was scared to death to see who would actually be cleared to play today. The good news for Panthers fans, veteran safety Kirk Coleman and pass rush specialist Mario Addison are both a go. Linebacker Luke Kuechly will not go. He did make progress working his way through the concussion protocol this week, but he failed that final test yesterday. I spoke with him a few minutes ago when he was out for warm-ups with his teammates, and he said he's feeling good, Sam, and he's hopeful for next week.
You know, Jen, if there's one guy in this stadium who wants to be out on that field playing, it's Luke Kuechly. Cloudy day today, temperature 37. It's supposed to get up into the mid-40s, but not all that much wind. Should be pretty good conditions for the game, Brady.
This is football weather. This is what you come to expect in this time of the year, and I think you talk to both teams before the game. The players are excited. They're ready to be out here.
The Panthers won the toss, deferred to the second half. The Chargers like to get the ball to start the game, and here we go. And Burse takes a knee. Isaiah Burse takes the knee for the touchback, and the San Diego Chargers, with one of the great quarterbacks of all time, his head coach says one of the best to ever play the game, Philip Rivers, comes out for his 173rd consecutive start.
And you'll hear coaches talk about it all the time. Durability sometimes is more important than ability, but Philip Rivers has both, and he's a big reason why this team has been so competitive over the course of his career.
Chargers start from the 25 with two tight ends, Antonio Gates and Hunter Henry. Henry shifted into the slot off the play fake and thrown right into the ground. There was big time pressure from the Panthers right away on Philip Rivers. For the Chargers, the 5-7 record, they're barely hanging on with some life in the playoffs. They can score, but they give up a lot of points, and they have been prone to losing leads late in games.
Well, it's been turnovers, it's been injuries, it's been a combination of things. It's never just one thing, but one thing you always see from this team is how competitive they are. They're always playing in tight games, even when they lose.
On 2nd and 10, it's Melvin Gordon, and he stopped short of the line of scrimmage. Great penetration on the play by Wes Horton.
Wes Horton with the penetration. A.J. Klein was there as well. He's the guy who's filled in for Luke Kuechly at that middle linebacker position, kind of the quarterback of the defense. And you could see he didn't hesitate whatsoever coming up and making a play on the football. And that's the difference is when you've got a backup, sometimes those guys hesitate when they're out there in the field because they've got limited experience. A.J. Klein has stepped in and done the job.
3rd and 10, no gain on the play. 3 wide receivers in. They bunch 3 receivers to the left. And now Tyrell Williams motions. All receivers out. Rivers steps up under pressure. They got him. K1 short. 3 and out for the Chargers. Great start for the Panthers defense.
But it all started with Mario Addison, their defensive end. You'll see him right here on your screen. He's the one that forces Philip Rivers to have to step up. And there was K1 short, kind of falls into his lap. And this is really what the Carolina Panthers have missed a little bit, is that ability to get pressure off the edge.
Drew Kaiser with a low line drive kick. Ted Ginn Jr. on the return from the 35. Gets back about 13 yards up to the 48-yard line. And the Panthers with excellent field position. And Cam Newton will come onto the field for the first play of this game. Last week, that wasn't the case, as we all know about not wearing the tie. They have put that to rest. Ron Rivera says, I don't want to talk about it anymore. And maybe a message was sent to the players about the way this season has gone for the Panthers.
Just attention to detail, and that's something that he needs to improve on as well as the rest of the team. But Cam Newton's got to step up his play. 3 games now, he's completed less than half of his passes.
They like to hand it to Jonathan Stewart to start the game. Let's see. There it is. Stewart looking for an opening and gets about a yard on the play up to the 49-yard line. Boy, what a difference a year makes. Last year, the Panthers were undefeated at this point of the season. This year, you can see the record. You can see the turnovers. Turnover margin is minus this year. They were a big takeaway machine last year to set up their scoring. 2nd and 9. Cam Newton throwing, and wide open is Greg Olsen. One of his favorite targets. First down at the Chargers' 38-yard line. Olsen leads the team in receptions.
Well, he's working on a rookie here. That's number 42, Trevor Williams. He's in for Brandon Flowers, who's inactive today due to injury. And right away, Cam Newton trying to take advantage and trying to get Greg Olsen going. You go back to the first 6 games of the season, Greg Olsen, dramatically different year. He had 1 game less than 5 catches. He's struggled to get 5 catches the last 6 games.
2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. All receivers out. Newton with time, throwing and completing to Devin Funchess. He dropped the ball. Let's see if it's ruled incomplete. Funchess is hurt, hit by Jaleel Adai. He is slow to get up here. The pass is incomplete. Funchess made the catch but didn't complete the process.
Field for an injured player.
The referee is Ron Torbert.
You can see Cam Newton finding Funchess across the middle. The problem is when you put up the ball that high, Carolina's got these big wide receivers who can extend and make these sorts of catches, but exposes them to these sorts of hits.
Funch's head hits the ground hard, but he's up, walking off under his own power. That's a good sign. No doubt will be checked out by the medical staff on the sideline. Pass was a good one thrown by Cam Newton, but incomplete. Makes it 2nd and 10 for the Panthers on the Chargers' 38-yard line. 3 wide receivers in. They motion Philly Brown into the backfield. Off the play fake, swing it out to Philly Brown. He's got room. And he's out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Make it to 29, a pickup of 9 on the play. Denzel Perryman, the linebacker, chased him out of bounds.
And that's one of the things when you face Carolina, you have to deal with early on in games. Offensive coordinator Mike Shula does a good job of mixing in personnels, but then mixing in different formations. There's Mike. He's going to challenge you early on to have to defend different looks and things that maybe they haven't shown in the past, or it's been a few weeks since they have shown that look.
2 backs in the backfield is Jonathan Stewart. They bring in Tolbert now at fullback. Quarterback sneak for Cam Newton and looking to push the pile. When you're 6'6", 260, you can do that, right, Brady Quinn?
I don't know why you bring in all the additional big bodies just so that San Diego can bring in the additional big bodies. Why not spread them out and just go with the quarterback sneak? As you can see, Devin Funchess going off to the locker room. We saw him take that tough hit earlier from Jaleel Adai, and he's a guy who stepped up for Carolina kind of as another option outside of Greg Olsen and Kelvin Benjamin.
First down Panthers at the Chargers' 25-yard line. Stewart and Tolbert. Tolbert, a former San Diego Charger. Stewart carrying. It's a couple of yards down to the 23-yard line. When Tolbert's in the game, you remember 4 years at San Diego, and 2 of them he was outstanding. He had another injured player. This time it's a San Diego Charger player that's injured on the play. Is it Joey Bosa? No, excuse me. It's Craig Mager, the cornerback, that is shaken up on the play. We'll step out for a moment.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
Back in Charlotte, Craig Mager walking off with some assistance. The Chargers are a banged up team to begin with. They're without starting cornerback Brandon Flowers. Here's what happened on the play.
Yeah, it's tough to tell. You don't want to speculate, but he seemed to be able to get up his own power. It's something you want to see. Hopefully he can return, because as you mentioned, they are thin in the secondary with the injuries that they've sustained this year.
Rookie Trevor Williams, number 42, is in replacing him. And the pass is challenging Williams right away. The pass intended for Ted Ginn is incomplete, so Cam Newton went right after Trevor Williams.
They went after him earlier, too. Trevor Williams started this game out at the cornerback position. They went right at him versus Greg Olsen. You see, once again, clearly that's a matchup they're going to try to work for the majority of this game.
You saw that number, 15 players on IR for San Diego, a lot of them on the defensive side of the ball, a lot of key players. Here's 3rd and 8 for the Panthers at the Chargers 23. They pick up the blitz. Good job by Stewart. The pass tipped away. That was Hayward, Casey Hayward, their top defensive back. He was challenged on the play by Kelvin Benjamin, and Casey Hayward won the challenge.
Oh, what a difference this makes. And the reason why he's able to break this pass up, he keeps his leverage. He had inside leverage to start. He didn't allow Kelvin Benjamin to break that, and that allowed him to undercut the route and break up the pass. You know, he leads the NFL in passes defended as well as interceptions, but it's because of his technique. He talked to us earlier this week about that.
Graham Gano will attempt a 41-yard field goal. This one on the way, and it is good. So, the Carolina Panthers, first time they get their hands on the ball, move into scoring position. Graham Gano puts 3 on the board. Phillip Rivers and the Chargers back on the field in a moment.
Game is sponsored by Bud Light. Strike gold and you can win Super Bowl tickets for life.
Back in Charlotte, where the Carolina Panthers, 9-play drive with 29 yards offense, stalled, and they settled for the field goal. Phillip Rivers waiting for his second chance. Gano kicks it off. Strong leg. Better than 71% touchbacks. Puts it through the end zone. America's fastest growing sports show is on FS1.
Tomorrow, we debate today's NFL action, and Shannon will continue to disrespect the Cowboys.
They don't hand out rings in December, Skip.
Just keep talking. Undisputed at 9:30 Eastern, FS1.
Is it undisputed that Phillip Rivers gets into the Hall of Fame? I'd love to hear Skip and Shannon talk about that.
Undisputed. But you know what? They'd have something to say about that.
Yeah, they would.
From the 25, Chargers were 3 and out the first time they had the ball. Melvin Gordon is the running back. Rivers lets it go, and he gets it in there to Hunter Henry. No, it's Antonio Gates, excuse me, at the 34-yard line. The future Hall of Famer. That great combination of Rivers to Gates. Gates goes off like a little hitch in his giddy up there.
Well, he's getting up there in age. That might be the case, especially this late in the season. Played 14 years. Talking about Phillip Rivers in the Hall of Fame. Antonio Gates is right there with him.
Yeah. Sean McGrath replaces Gates. 2 tight ends in. Gordon spins and gets a first down. Casey Darrell Worley came up to make the tackle. Worley, the rookie out of West Virginia, just back in the lineup after suffering a concussion. And he went through.
Number 79 has recorded as an eligible receiver. 79 is eligible.
He went through concussion protocol that Jennifer Hale talked about and did pass and is back on the field. Tackle eligible is Kenny Wiggins for San Diego on first down at the 35-yard line. Rivers steps up and a pass complete to Dontrell Inman, the third-year man out of Virginia, who's become a key receiver.
And this is where Phillip Rivers is going to try to take advantage. You saw on the first drive the sack on third down. This time they keep 8 guys into protection, only 2 guys out in routes, trying to isolate and work on those rookie cornerbacks for Carolina. James Bradbury, Darrell Worley. They're going to see a lot of action today.
2nd and 1, 3 wide receivers in the game. Gordon takes the toss, couple of blockers in front of him, turns the corner and is taken out of bounds. Melvin Gordon closing in on 1,000 yards in his 2nd year as a running back in the NFL. Last year, he said he was kind of lost, but this year he has really turned himself into one of the top running backs in the NFL.
Yeah, coming into the game, he's the 4th leading rusher in the league. He's about ready to eclipse 1,000 yards. The difference for him, he said, I was just trying to make sure I knew my assignment, and all of a sudden there would be an audible, there would be something that would be changed, and I had to think quick, and doing that in a second's time is tough to do for a rookie. He's really settled in this year, feels much more comfortable.
They motion Butler. They have 3 tight ends in the lineup. Rivers had the ball knocked out of his hands. It's a fumble. Recovered by the Panthers. Turnovers have hurt San Diego, and now Melvin Gordon is hurting on the field. Things going wrong for the Chargers here. Rivers has the ball knocked out of his hands, turns into a fumble, recovered by Carolina.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Ford. We go further so you can. By the $10 any pizza carryout deal only at Pizza Hut. And by Samsung Pay. Turn your phone into your wallet.
We've played only half the first quarter and 3 players have been injured already. And here, the bad news is they brought the card onto the field for Melvin Gordon.
Let's go back and take a look at that last play. And I'm going to highlight, here we go. K'Wan Short, you'll see him. He's the one who gets the initial penetration, knocks the ball out of Phillip Rivers' hands. But pause it right there. It's right here where you're going to see Melvin Gordon gets hit from behind, trying to go scoop up the football, and I believe that's where the injury occurred. 2 sacks so far on the day for K'Wan Short, clearly being disruptive, and it's the best angle.
Melvin Gordon is alert. His teammates surround him.
And they don't have a lot of depth at the running back position. When you look at the roster, they already lost Danny Woodhead earlier this year. Talked about that. They brought in Dexter McCluster. They thought maybe he would be able to be a comparable back. He's on the non-football injury list. Talking about the 4th leading rusher, a guy right there, almost getting to 1,000 yards. And look how productive he's been this season for the Chargers.
You can
10
see
touchdowns.
You can see the pain he's in, and the acknowledgement from Jonathan Stewart, among others, of the Carolina Panthers for one of the top backs in the league. Melvin Gordon heading for the locker room. So injuries to Craig Mager on defense and Melvin Gordon on offense for San Diego. Devin Funchess of Carolina has gone to the locker room. He was injured. 3 injured players already. Half a quarter is all that we've played.
Well, look, we're in the final quarter of the season, and Vernon, who thinks that they're still not hitting, there's still not that physicality in football anymore, don't know what else to tell them. They're wrong. I mean, these guys are still out there playing hard, hitting. It's a part of the game.
Panthers start in San Diego territory at the 47-yard line. The end around to Ted Ginn, but he stopped, thrown for a loss. Excellent play by Melvin Ingram. Time for an update. Let's go to Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Sam. We head to Miami. The Dolphins needing a win today to stay alive in the wild card race. They were up 7-0 when this one happens. The reverse to J.J. Nelson, who does all the work. They would miss an extra point, so Miami is still up 7-6. Let's send it back to Sam. Brady, welcome back to the booth.
Oh, thank you, Carissa.
Always get something extra with Carissa.
Yes, yes.
Ball back to midfield, a loss of 3. Fozzie Whitaker in the backfield. In at running back, Newton throws down the sideline for Whitaker. It's incomplete. Overthrew him as they matched him up with the linebacker, Corey Toomer.
You look at the linebacker group for San Diego, and we keep talking about all these injuries. San Diego has battled this the past couple seasons now, and you're going to see they're going to try to get Fozzie Whitaker basically on a wheel route, and you can see Corey Toomer almost gets picked off by Kelvin Benjamin. Good play design. Just couldn't hook up, and that's been the story for Cam Newton the past 3 weeks. struggling to be able to get completions.
3rd and 13. Have to get to the 37 for a first down. 3 wide receivers in. Newton steps up and got tripped up and takes off, and he's tackled short of the first down at the 43-yard line. Jatavis Brown, the rookie out of Akron, with a stop.
Talked to defensive coordinator John Pagano. He said, one of the biggest things we want to do is bottle up Cam Newton, not let him out of the pocket. Right. This time, though, they find a way of coming up and making the tackle, being able to get the stop and forcing the punt. Let's look at Joey Bosa matched up on old Mike Remmers.
Michael Pilardi, who was picked up just a couple of weeks ago when Andy Lee was hurt, is the punter. And fair catch wait for by Isaiah Burse at the 10-yard line. Carolina Panthers got the turnover, didn't make anything of it. Key inactives today for San Diego. Brandon Flowers, their starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. Luke Kuechly missing his 3rd straight game. Charles Johnson, their starting defensive end, out with a hamstring. And then the injuries that have set in today. 2 for San Diego, 1 for Carolina. Kenny Farrell on the carry. The rookie out of Houston is pushed out of bounds. Loss of a yard on the play, maybe 2. A.J. Klein, the middle linebacker, able to come up with the play. San Diego without their starting running back Melvin Gordon. Already in this game, Phillip Rivers has been sacked twice. He has now been sacked in 31 consecutive games. You talk about a durable quarterback. There's Phillip Rivers. They spread the offense. Rivers, nobody open, looks to the right, throws, and try to get it to Hunter Henry, but missed. There's a flag on the play. Flag down at the 4-yard line.
Holding. Offense.
It's on King Dunlap, the left tackle. They decline the penalty. It'll bring up a 3rd and long for the Chargers.
Interesting to decline, though. And the reason I say that is because if you continue to move the ball back and you can get pressure on a quarterback, if you get a holding penalty in the end zone, it's a safety. So you're going to get the points. You're also going to get the ball back. So in this area of the field, I would rather continue to push them back. I mean, think about it. They already got 2 sacks on the day. I would have accepted the penalty.
Farrell in the backfield with Rivers. 3rd and 12 for the Chargers. There was movement. Left guard moved too soon. I believe it was the left guard. Phillip Rivers upset.
Ball start. Offense. Number 74.
Yep. Orlando Franklin.
Still 3rd down.
Well, there's another penalty. Moving back a little bit.
Yeah, think about how much closer you'd be moving back to the goal line. Yeah. Look at these linebackers. You got them standing up over the center as a center guard combination. You're going to be responsible in some fashion or form. You feel that pressure. He's working against K'Wan Shorter, as we mentioned, already 2 sacks on the day, so he's going to be a little bit antsy in that stance.
Ball back to the 4-yard line. They have to get to the 21 for a first down. 3 wide receivers in the game. Rivers from the end zone, throwing deep, and it's incomplete. Trying to get it to Travis Benjamin, well covered by James Bradbury. Bradbury, rookie 2nd-round pick out of Samford.
Travis Benjamin has tremendous speed on the outside. They try to utilize a double move, but the rookie was not fooled. He knew where the sticks are. He knew what Carolina was trying to get accomplished, and he was with Benjamin step for step. Ball too far inside anyway.
From deep in the end zone, Drew Kaiser, the punt, a short one, drops inside the Chargers 40-yard line. So right now, everything going wrong for San Diego. Can Cam Newton and Carolina take advantage of it?
Well, this is what we're looking at for the Week 1 starting lineup for the Panthers offensive line. But take a look at what it looks like now. Andrew Norwell is the only guy who has remained static. Tyler Larson now at center. Chris Scott comes in at right guard. Usual right guard, Trey Turner, he's bumped out to right tackle because of the injuries to Michael Orr, who was at left, where Remmers moved over. It's a bunch of musical
Don't
chairs.
forget Ryan Khalil at center.
Yeah, no, a bunch of moving parts, but that's been part of the reason why I think there's been some offensive struggles this year for Carolina.
2 tight ends in. They start from the Chargers 35. Straight ahead, Jonathan Stewart. It's about 3 yards on the play. Wow. Carolina's already had 10 plays in Chargers territory.
They've dominated as far as the field position battle early in this game. The issue is they haven't been able to sustain anything.
No.
Only 3 points to show for it.
Out of the shotgun, 2 tight ends in, movement on the line, no flags. Newton throws, completes to Greg Olsen, out of bounds at the 15-yard line. Greg Olsen with 63 catches on the season. He's closing in on his 3rd consecutive 1,000-yard receiving season.
Check out Greg Olsen working on Jaleel Adai. Adai probably a better box safety, meaning he's better against the run than in pass coverage. And Greg Olsen's one of the best in the game, if not arguably the best, statistically speaking, leading this team in receptions and receiving yards this year, but has been slowed in the second half of the season.
Stewart and Tolbert in the backfield. Tolbert lining up on the offset. Stewart trying to find a hole, spinning, goes inside the 10. Some nice moves by Jonathan Stewart. Down to the 9-yard line. Melvin Ingram with the tackle.
And we talked about the issues for Carolina up front on the offensive line, a lot of different moving parts. That's played a factor for Jonathan Stewart as well, and that inherently has affected Cam Newton, his ability to throw the football effectively and get protection and all those sorts of things.
They stay with the 2 backs. Tolbert the fullback. Stewart finds the opening. Gets down to the 8-yard line. Bring up a 3rd and 3. Cam Newton over the last 3 games, his completion percentage has been under 50%.
You look at his production though in the red zone, not as good, quite as good as last year, but he takes care of the football well, and he's a very key part of that running game.
Movement on the line. Flags fly from all directions.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense. Number 99. Half the distance to the goal.
Joey Bosa, you can see his reaction.
Well, that's huge because it's a first down, in this area of the field. Clearly using a hard count.
Joey Bosa in his 9th game after he had the contract holdout before the start of the season. Then he had the hamstring injury, which set him back for 4 games. But he has played very well in his 8 games. But here taking the penalty, first down and goal at the 4-yard line for the Panthers. They motion Ted Ginn, and the flags fly in again. Movement on the line. Well, let's find out.
False start. Offense. Number 74. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Mike Remmers, the left tackle, called for the false start.
First Bosa was lined up across from him. Now Mike Remmers returns the favor. But he showed a stat earlier in regards to the red zone production for Cam Newton. Traditionally he's really taken care of the football because it's such a vital part of that running game. But this year he hasn't been running as much down in the red zone.
First and goal at the 9. Devin Funchess is back in the lineup for Carolina. The pass to Funchess, tip, and Hayward came down with it but out of bounds. The NFL's leading interceptor, Casey Hayward, with 7, almost had another one. You saw him signal to the camera, just missed.
Here, you're going to see at the bottom of the screen, Kelvin Benjamin's going to run a little skinny post route, but the safety gives help, and then they look back to the other side of the field to try to find Funchess.
Jaleel Adai with the tip. And there's Hayward Came down with 1 foot out of bounds. So the incomplete pass, 2nd and goal for the Panthers. And there's the quarterback draw. Newton to the goal line. He is just short. Just short. Cam Newton looking around. He wants the touchdown call.
Look at the extension. See if his left knee is down. It's down right there. He's going to be just short. But I would imagine they would implement that same strategy probably with the quarterback sneak.
Since he's come into the league in 2011, no one has more rushing touchdowns than Cam Newton. Oh, I think Ron Rivera wants him to take another look at it. He's challenging the call. Well, let's go to the man who will clarify everything for us. Mike Pereira, what do you think on that call?
Well, we waited for Fran Morrison to get us that good shot right down the goal line. We think that the left knee and shin are down before the ball breaks the plane. That's what they look at. Do you get this look? There, the shin is down. The ball hasn't broken the plane. So to me, that was a good spot by the official and not a touchdown.
And here's the official call from referee Ron Torbert. He's out from under the hood.
After review, the ruling on the field will be confirmed. The runner's left shin was down with the ball short of the goal line. It'll be 3rd down. Carolina will be charged with their first timeout. That's their first challenge of the game.
Now, Mike, Ron was listening to exactly what you said. That left shin was down, and that's the call.
I just like the play design. You know, you don't see quarterbacks run very often from under center as far as it being a designed run. That was a quarterback draw all the way, so typically they like to run that from the shotgun, not under center.
3rd and goal inside the 1-yard line. 2 backs in. They motion one of the tight ends. It's Stewart over the top. He's in. Touchdown. Eighth rushing touchdown for Jonathan Stewart.
Look at him elevate to get up over the top. Clearly the ball breaks the plane. Denzel Perryman, everyone else from the Chargers defense doing all they can, but just enough push. Kind of thought after we saw that quarterback sneak earlier, maybe they'd just go with getting that push again. They got about 4 yards. Last time they needed that short yardage situation.
Well, Cam figured I had my shot this time. I'll give it to Jonathan Stewart. Let him do it. Extra point for Graham Gano. Right through, and the Panthers take advantage of a bad punt by Drew Kaiser. Excellent field position. They start at the Chargers 35, and Jonathan Stewart cashes in. So Phillip Rivers and the Chargers down by 10 early in this game.
Well, and they're in a tough position. We already saw Melvin Gordon go off the field. He was a little bit banged up. Ronnie Hillman's inactive today for the Chargers. So Kenneth Farrow, the running back position, he's going to have to carry the load. And you better believe San Diego wants to remain balanced because of how good this pass rush has been for Carolina early on. K'Wan Short creating all sorts of havoc. Mario Addison, we've seen him. It'll get some pressure as well.
And a good start to the game for Cam Newton, getting in the rhythm. And I'm sure he's happy about the fact that Devin Funchess has come back after being injured. Jonathan Stewart with a solid season. Graham Gano teeing it up. Isaiah Burse and Derek Watt are back deep. Derek Watt may get a chance to run the football in this game. The fullback for the Chargers. Gano, low line drive kick. Burse has it bounce past him and takes a knee. So the Carolina Panthers with a good start to the game, what they wanted, getting the lead and getting some confidence in their game.
And really, they've dominated the line of scrimmage. We've seen that defensively. They dominated the field position battle and capitalized on it on that last drive. But they've got to figure out a way of continuing to step up the passing game. That's where Cam Newton has struggled a little bit. And for San Diego, they're going to have to try to get something going. So far, they've struggled on third down, struggled to protect Phillip Rivers, besides using an 8-man protection that we saw their last drive.
Kenny Farrell, the running back, and Farrell carrying it. A good run on first down. Pickup of 9 by the rookie, Kenneth Farrell. We have another injury here. Gano kicking off. Whoa, and he pulls up. Did he pull something there?
Looked like he might have on his plant foot, maybe. And the field's in great condition. We were down there before the game.
Yeah. Here's Farrell again. He's got a first down. So the Chargers get Kenneth Farrell in, and there is Gano with the trainer checking out his left leg. Boy, we've had a lot happen here in this first quarter with turnovers, injuries. The Chargers, if you're just joining us, without their top running back, Melvin Gordon, who was carted off the field. Panthers showing blitz. Rivers swings it out to Farrell. He juggles, comes down with the ball. It's a short pickup as he was hit by Kurt Coleman, the safety, number 20.
Talked to Ron Rivera earlier this week. As we take a look at this hit by Kurt Coleman, he's up making a play on the football because they brought a cornerback blitz on that side of the field with James Bradbury. Talked about we've got to disguise our looks versus Phillip Rivers because he's so good at basically trying to figure out what you're trying to run and take advantage of it. So a lot of times they've got to hold their pressures and their blitz look until the last second.
We've come to the end of the first quarter in which the Chargers made a lot of mistakes. The drum was pounding for the Panthers, and they have a 10-0 lead. Chargers with a 2nd and 7 at their own 41. As we start the second quarter, Sam Rosen, Brady Quinn, Jennifer Hale here in Charlotte. Rivers off the play fake, moves and throws deep, but it is intercepted. Darryl Worley with the pick and the return across the 40 before he's pulled back by Orlando Franklin. And once again, a bad series for the Chargers.
When once again it starts because of the pressure. Phillip Rivers had to move in the pocket, basically threw up a prayer to Tyrell Williams. Darryl Worley there every step of the way, and I'm sure Carolina fans, and I'm sure the team as well, is happy to have him back, getting his first interception of the season.
Why do you think he throws it up for grabs in that situation?
Well, I mean, look, Drew Kaiser's struggled this year punting.
Yeah.
So it's almost similar to a punt. Now the return negates a little bit of that, but we've seen him. He's thrown a number of picks this season. They lead the NFL in turnovers. He's up there in interceptions, though. He was second coming into the game behind Blake Bortles. I just think that's the position that he feels like he's in this year with their defense giving up points and yards.
Chargers have had 4 possessions in the game, 2 punts and 2 turnovers. Panthers start from their 42. Newton being pressured, trying to get away from Joey Bosa, and throws it away out of bounds. Joey Bosa is someone that the Chargers feel they can build their defense around. This is a man with disruptive powers.
Watch the top of your screen. I mean, this is just raw power. I mean, you are literally tossing Trey Turner, who's a former Pro Bowler, who's 310 pounds, into the lap of Cam Newton. And that's why San Diego was so excited about taking this guy at the top of the first round. You see he oozes with the raw power and ability.
3 receivers to the left for Carolina: Funchess, Kelvin Benjamin, and Ted Ginn. Jonathan Stewart in the backfield with Cam Newton. Newton gets time, throws over the middle. Good grab by Funchess. He is thrown out of bounds by Trevon Reed, but a good grab by Funchess coming back from the injury sustained in the first quarter.
Well, this time he hangs on to it. Last time we saw him kind of get exposed over across the middle. and got banged up because Jaleel Adai went low on him. This time, you're going to see him cross the field, and really, there's no safety help. Adai doesn't end up playing a factor in this play. Makes a nice catch.
Second-year man out of Michigan, Devin Funchess, with good hands. Ball at the Chargers' 31-yard line. On first down, end around, Ted Ginn with room. He needs a block, and he's out of bounds inside the 25. Otherwise, it would have been a big play.
This is a part of the Carolina offense every week. You talk to Mike Shuley, he says, well, we always have at least one, maybe two or three different ways of getting the football into Ted Ginn's hand. He's got such elite speed, even at this level. They just try to find unique ways of working him the football.
Ball at the Chargers, 23, second and 2. Two backs. Tolbert to fullback. Jonathan Stewart to tailback. Newton still has it. Dives for the first down. Time for an update. Let's go back to Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Sam. We're headed to the snow. Buffalo, some football weather right here. Steelers trying to top the AFC North with the Ravens, and Le'Veon Bell helping his team's cause. His second score of the day. They're up 14-0. Ravens watching this one closely. They play tomorrow night. Sam and Brady and Jen.
Snow in Buffalo? What a surprise.
Yeah, that's not a shocker whatsoever.
Hey, some rumors that Rex Ryan could be gone in Buffalo.
Heard as soon as maybe Monday, which
wow.
was with the New York Jets when he was there. He's a true player's coach. Tough to see that. Love being a part of any team Rex Ryan's a part of.
And they're down by 14. Newton throws to Funchess. Excuse me, that's Kelvin Benjamin. And he's out of bounds at the 10-yard line.
Well, they continue to keep working on Trevor Williams, the rookie. You're going to see this throughout the course of the day. Casey Hayward's been so good for San Diego, and with the injuries that the San Diego defense has sustained in the secondary, why would you work anywhere else?
Carolina, with those two big receivers, Benjamin at 6'5", Funchess at 6'4", those are tough guys to cover.
No, it's like throwing the ball down in the post when you got a 7-footer. These guys, the matchups down there, it's too easy.
Newton throws short and off the hands of Jonathan Stewart, incomplete.
It almost looked like Jonathan Stewart was surprised by that football. I don't know if he didn't see it or what happened, but he's going to leak out into the flat on the left side of your screen, and as Newton threw him the football, I don't know if he didn't pick it up when he got his head around. These are some of the frustrations you have as a quarterback when things aren't going well in the passing game. Some drop balls, lack of protection, and all that.
Those kids want a ball after a touchdown. Second and goal at the 10. Cam Newton steps away from pressure. Now turns on the move, buying time, and now he's running, heading for the corner, and out of bounds around the 5-yard line. So Cam Newton just ran himself out of trouble.
Well, it started with the pressure from Melvin Ingram. Then it went actually from the pressure from Joey Bosa. So you're going to see number 54 flash. That initially starts Cam Newton get out of the pocket. Bosa starts to chase him, but Newton's so athletic, he can still make plays in space. And watch Norwell. He gets a shot on Bosa at the end to continue to keep protecting his quarterback. I don't know what's tougher, trying to sack Cam Newton or trying to protect for him, because he can do this. And you got to keep your head on a swivel and keep protecting him down the field.
Third and goal at the 6-yard line. Benjamin and Funchess to the right to throw to Funchess. He's got it for a touchdown. They beat the rookie Trevon Williams. That's a way to return from the locker room.
Yeah, and I hate the fact this is going to be the case, but once again, we keep talking about the matchup on Trevor Williams. One-on-one in the slot. You see the size advantage for Devin Funchess, and once he breaks Trevor Williams' leverage, he gets inside, he gets skinny up the seam. It's exactly what Cam Newton was looking for, and it's just enough of a window to be able to fit in for the touchdown.
What a throw. Extra point, Graham Gano is good. Carolina Panthers up to a 17-0 lead. Great throw from Newton to Funchess. That's the ball the kids were waiting for.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Citizen Echo Drive watches, powered by Light.
4 possessions for Carolina in the game. Field goal, punt, touchdown, touchdown.
Well, 10 points off turnovers, and then that's been the story of this game so far. Carolina being able to take advantage of advantageous field position and turnovers.
Graham Gano's kick is short. Isaiah Burse on the return. He's got good speed, but this time he's brought down short of the 20 flag on the play. Mike Tolbert, the former Charger, in on the tackle on Isaiah Burse. We'll check out the flag.
During the return, holding number 84 of the return team. Half the distance from the spot of the foul. San Diego's ball, first down.
Sean McGrath, the tight end, called for the holding. We go down to the field to Jennifer Hale. Jen, what's going on?
Sam, injuries mounting, as you mentioned. Melvin Gordon, questionable back in the Chargers locker room. His injury is a hip. Craig Meagher, meanwhile, has an elbow sprain and a quote stinger. He was evaluated for a concussion. And Devin Funchess obviously playing through it. He has a mouth laceration that's been bothering him, Sam.
Thanks, Jen. Kenny Farrow carrying on first down, gets about 3 on the play as the Chargers start from the 9. The big edge in field position, you mentioned it, Brady, has been to Carolina in this game.
When San Diego continually finds themselves in these backed up positions, you look at them on third down today, really struggled, 0 for 2, and it's because they haven't gotten much production on first and second down.
2nd and 7, 3 wide receivers in. Rivers with time completes up to the 20-yard line to Dontrell Inman. Inman, third-year man out of Virginia, has done a nice job. Injuries to the Chargers earlier in the season. We have another injured player on the field. This time it's the right tackle, Joe Barksdale. Limping toward the Chargers locker room is right tackle Joe Barksdale, is replaced by Chris Hairston, 5th-year man out of Clemson.
And with all the injuries in the offensive line last year for San Diego, Barksdale was the guy that really stepped up for him, played the most of any of the offensive linemen. Hasn't had the best year, but he's been a guy who's kind of been a mainstay at that right tackle position.
3 wide receivers in. The fake handoff, and in trouble and sacked for the 3rd time is Phillip Rivers. Ryan Dallaire, 2nd-year man out of Towson, with the sack.
And his first sack of the season. And really, it's all created by the penetration and the lanes that K'Wan Short is providing. He penetrated and got so far upfield, it allowed Dallaire to then be able to loop back inside for the easy sack. And once again, San Diego finds themselves, in 2nd and long, putting themselves in these tough positions.
Dallaire had 2.5 sacks last year. Here's 2nd and long. Rivers throws short outside, and Inman is hit immediately. James Bradbury with the hit, taking down Dontrell Inman. Let's get an update from Kurt Menefee in L.A. Kurt.
And another good run, another tough run by the rookie Robert Kelly. Only his 15 starting, undrafted by Tulane, but he's made a big difference for the Redskins. This touchdown run put him up by 1 at the 2-minute warning against Philadelphia.
Redskins in the hunt at 6-5-1. Eagles trying to stay alive. They're on a losing streak.
Yeah, they've really struggled ever since their bye in week 4. Carson Wentz hasn't played the same. Really, the team hasn't played the same.
And tonight, the Giants and Dallas Cowboys in New Jersey. Rivers, nobody open. Runs out of trouble, looks downfield, and throws and finds a man. Hunter Henry. And there's a flag on the play. Henry with a catch at the 40-yard line. We'll check out the flag.
It's going to be on Hunter Henry. He was the first one to come back from being out of bounds to touch the football.
Good pickup, Brady.
Just the very top of the screen. See right here?
Yep. Out of bounds.
Steps out.
Illegal touching of the forward pass by the offense, number 86. Went out of bounds in was the first to touch the pass. The penalty is loss of down at the previous spot. It's 4th down.
And he has to be forced out by the defender, right? So the official's then going to make the call of whether or not the defender forced him out. If he was forced out, he can come back in and be the first to touch the football once he reestablishes himself. But that time, they believe he went out on his own accord.
Drew Kaiser to punt. Had a poor punt the last time. Set the Panthers up in excellent field position. This one, a better kick. Ted Ginn on the return from the 36. Tries the other way, picks up a block, and he's finally brought down at the 40. He went a whole long way to get 4 yards, but he made it fun. Carolina Panthers with a 17-0 lead, and the defense has been tough on Phillip Rivers.
Today's game is sponsored by Ram Trucks, America's longest-lasting pickups.
Great Christmas decorations at the South Park Mall here in Charlotte. Tree looks great. You got your tree already?
Oh, yeah. I got my tree up.
Hey, you have a new baby daughter.
Yeah, first Christmas.
Celebrate Christmas with.
I can't wait. Now, she's not going to remember it, but we will.
Take the pictures, get the photos, you got it all. And the videos. Jonathan Stewart busts a couple of tackles, and he rolled over and kept going. There was no whistle on the play. He picked up an extra 10 yards.
I don't know that his knee or shin or forearm ever actually touched the ground. He puts his hand down, but as he flips over, see how he's on top of the defender? You're not considered down. He's got to actually be on the ground. So what a play, what a heads-up play by Jonathan Stewart. Now, San Diego's going to challenge it.
But challenge it.
From that last angle, I don't believe any part of him touched the ground. I believe he was on top of the San Diego defender.
All right, Mike McCoy telling Ron Torbert he was down.
San Diego has challenged the ruling on the field that the runner was not down by contact. We'll review the play. Timeout.
The challenge by Mike McCoy. Right now, nothing has gone his way. Mike Pereira is with us. Mike, explain this to the viewers, what happened here.
This is unbelievable. I can certainly see why Mike McCoy would have challenged this, but he is not down. The hand touches, the foot touches, the head does not. He rolls over. That's the agility that you used to see from like a Brady Quinn when he played at Notre Dame.
No.
That is just an unbelievable play.
Here's the official call from Ron Torbert.
After the review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. No part of the runner's body touched down. It'll be Carolina's ball, 1st and 10 on the 40-yard line. San Diego will be charged with their first time out of the half. That's their first challenge. The clock will start on my ready for play signal.
That was circus-like.
It was very gymnastics-like, acrobatic, which my wife would know something about. I know nothing about. So,
well, I'll tell you, and if you're an official, you see that and you think to yourself, my gosh, he must be down, but you do want to hold your whistle. We talk about great whistle control. That was great whistle control by the official, not ruling him down.
The officials have made a couple of great calls in this game. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for your help, as always.
You got it.
First down for the Panthers. What a play by Jonathan Stewart. First down at the Chargers' 40-yard line. Newton gets time, wide open. Ted Ginn makes a good catch, and he's forced out of bounds by Trevor Williams. They're taking advantage of the undrafted rookie out of Penn State.
I think we're going to hear Trevor Williams' name quite a bit, but something that you see from Carolina somewhat often is bunches and stacks, things of that nature. That helped get Ted Ginn leverage. He was able to find the open space for the conversion first down.
Hand off to Stewart. And this time a short pickup on the play. Trevor Williams makes the stop. Cam Newton 6 for 13, 85 yards, 1 touchdown. Jonathan Stewart 8 carries, 35 yards. And you see the numbers, the field position. Carolina twice has started in San Diego territory. This time Joey Bosa brings down Cam Newton. And then Bosa is shaken up on the play.
Here's
see
Bosa.
what happened here. The guys who were working overtime are the trainers and the medical staff.
It almost looked as if right when Joey Bosa made contact with Cam Newton's shoulder, watch at the point at which he hits him in his left shoulder right there. Joey just starts to drop to the ground. He was able to keep a hand on Newton, but you can see right now.
And then Remmers comes down and fell down inadvertently on Joey Bosa's back.
It looked like Bosa was already hurt just from the initial hit on Newton. And always a scary sign anytime you see something like that and a player down not moving.
All right, we're going to step out. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Welcome back to Charlotte. Joey Bosa with a little assistance from the trainer has gone to the sideline and being shaken up on the play.
Clearly dazed and confused, but watch as Bosa hits into Newton's left shoulder. It's at that point you almost see him kind of, you can see the head kind of turn at the point of contact, and as he spins, he's kind of just falling to the ground. It almost looks like he's knocked out as he spun Newton and tried to still pull him down on the ground. Heck of a play. You hope he's going to be able to come back and be okay.
Bosa credited with a sack, now has 6.5 in 9 games. This is Fozzie Whitaker with a good hole. Carries down to the 26-yard line. It's way short of the first down. Panthers had to get to the 19. The field goal kicking unit comes on. And Bosa being checked out by a member of the medical staff. And some discomfort. Looks like the neck might be bothering him a little bit.
Well, what other quarterback does a guy like Joey Bosa, what other quarterback could affect him like that?
Yeah.
I mean, only Cam Newton, who's 260 pounds, could you have a defensive end run into him and the defensive end gets hurt.
Graham Gano from 44 yards, and it is good. Carolina continues to take advantage of field position. They lead 20-0 with 5:23 remaining in the first half. Graham Gano is 2 for 2. The Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award, presented by Nationwide, recognizes NFL players who've made a significant impact on both the game and in their communities, and is considered one of the league's most prestigious honors. This year's nominee for the San Diego Chargers is Jeremiah Atashu, and for the Carolina Panthers, it's Greg Olsen. The winner will be announced at NFL Honors, airing on Fox the night before the Super Bowl. And congratulations to both gentlemen. Atashu is injured on injured reserve. Greg Olsen, long time, big in charities.
Yeah, and it's the second year in a row he's gotten the nomination from his team. And then 3 years ago, Thomas Davis won it for the league. He was the NFL's Man of the Year. So pretty remarkable, really, the service that all the players for the Carolina Panthers, and you say across the league, but all these guys, the job that they do off the field, not just on the field.
There's Luke Kuechly on the sideline with Thomas Davis. Kickoff by Graham Gano. And taking a knee is Isaiah Burse. Well, we've spent time with Greg Olsen. He's so much involved. On September 27th, he partnered with New Era and patients from Levine Children's Hospital to custom design a Keep Pounding beanie. The beanie is exclusively for patients at Levine Children's Hospital. That's his son, TJ, who was treated for HLHS, hypoplastic left heart syndrome, at Levine's, and is doing very, very well. And it's great to see father and son together. Chargers start from the 25. Rivers surrounded, drops it off. And a big hit. Kenny Farrell, who's replaced the injured Melvin Gordon is taken down. There's Greg Olson on the bench of the Carolina Panthers. That's Thomas Davis, as Brady mentioned, former Man of the Year. That Walter Payton Award is something special, named for a special guy. The late Walter Payton, one of the greatest running backs ever. From the 26-yard line on 2nd and 9, Rivers fires sidearm, and it's off the hands of Antonio Gates. Let's get an update and go back to Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Sam. We head back to Philly. The Redskins, the 7th seed in the NFC. This one doesn't help. Carson Wentz to Darren Sproles. The Eagles up 13-7. And this one, Sam, Brady, and Jen.
Thanks, Carissa.
It's the rookie getting right back on track.
Absolutely.
But San Diego just can't get anything going, and Phillip Rivers once again is getting up off the ground. And now they find themselves in 3rd and long.
One of their injured players, sorry Brady, Joe Barksdale is back. We saw him limp to the locker room. He's back at right tackle. Flags on the play. Rivers has the ball knocked down again, and did it drop? It's ruled a fumble, recovered by the Panthers. Wes Horton covered the football.
The key here in this look is going to be whether or not Phillip Rivers had control of the football as the hand was coming forward.
The ruling on the field is that the ball was fumbled, recovered by Carolina. It was an illegal formation by the offense for having 6 players on the line of scrimmage. That penalty is declined. It's 1st down, Carolina.
We're going to take another look at this. Watch the right hand. Watch when A.J. Klein gets his right arm on the ball. And
that's a fumble.
That's clearly a fumble, which is a huge swing, because if he did maintain possession as his hand came forward, it would have been considered an incomplete pass. They would have been punting. But once again, 3 turnovers. Carolina finds themselves in plus territory.
This is a day that is becoming totally forgettable for the San Diego Chargers. 2 fumbles, an interception. Carolina has come ready to play. San Diego is struggling from the outset. Jonathan Stewart straight ahead, couple of yards to the 27-yard line. Melvin Ingram in on the stop. San Diego, we had good meetings with them. They said all the right things. Maybe it's the travel east, the situation they're in, the tough losses, so many losses by 1 score. But Mike McCoy saying beforehand they signed up for 16 games. The guys are focused. A couple of years ago, they finished the season with 4 straight wins to wind up 9-7. But this game has not been close. That ball almost picked off, and it is ruled an interception by Adai. Jaleel Adai on the return. And it's brought down. Well, let's take a look. Adai diving to the ground. Did he come up with the interception?
Let's see if he gets his arms underneath.
Right there, the ball touches the ground.
Well, the decision's going to be on whether or not, if they do decide to review this.
San Diego, 1st down.
So the decision's going to be whether or not
The ruling on the previous play will be reviewed.
it'll be whether or not he had maintained or controlled possession of the ball before it touched the ground. It can touch the ground if you have already maintained possession of the ball, but who better than Mike Pereira, he's putting in some work. The athletic trainers have. Mike Pereira has today.
Mike getting a lot of work today. Mike, what did you see on this one?
I've had more action in your game than I've had all year.
We love it. We love having you on.
You know, you guys are getting so smart at this that it's just the issue is going to be control, all right? Did he have control before the ball touched the ground? Which it looked like he did, but then it rolls over there and on the ground. Did the left hand come off? You know, to me, the question is, did he use the ground? Did he use the ground to complete the catch? As you continue to see these shots, man, I'm telling you, it's so close. Right. I mean, I would be tempted as I look at this, as they really have most of the day today. It's really close. Do you see the hands come completely off the ball? Does he lose control? I think I'd stay with what was called on the field.
Yeah, and that's the key part to all this, and it appears as if it was called incomplete because we've got the Carolina offense still out on the field. So
I disagree with you, Brady. I think it was ruled an interception because the review is for a change of possession here.
That's good. We've had so much action, we're not even sure what they ruled on the field in this game.
No, I think the call was an interception.
And something that's kind of gone unnoticed because of how this game has gone, the coverage there by Casey Hayward. We talked about it into the game. We're going to get the announcement right now.
Referee Ron Torbert.
The ruling on the field will be changed. The defender used the ground to make the pass. It's an incomplete pass. So with Carolina's ball, 3rd and 9 on the 27-yard line. Please reset the game clock to 3 minutes, 59 seconds, please. 3:59. The clock will start on the snap.
But without Casey Hayward's coverage on Kelvin Benjamin to help kind of disrupt that play, that never happens.
Mike Pereira, thanks. Stand by. We'll be back to you within a couple of minutes. You know there'll be another call. So the call on the field reversed. It becomes a 3rd and 9. It's still Carolina's ball on the San Diego 27-yard line. 3rd and 9. There's just under 4 minutes remaining in the first half, and Carolina has the big 20-0 lead.
At some point, I'm wondering whether they're going to try to work the ball to Greg Olsen again. He was actually open on that last play, but Newton decided to go to Benjamin.
Olsen's to the right. They pick up the blitz. The throw for the corner for Funchess. He was well covered. Pass incomplete, and again, one of the Chargers shaken up. It looks like Dwight Lowry, the safety, was shaken up on the play.
We talked about it. They like the matchup on the rookie, Trevor Williams. They've gone at him a number of times. And it's also because Devin Funchess has continued to improve this year. He's kind of built that confidence in the coaching staff to want to give him these opportunities.
Graham Gano will try another field goal, this one from 45 yards away. He's 2 for 2, now 3 for 3. 41, 44, 45 for Graham Gano. And the Chargers just hurting themselves with all the turnovers. Tuesday, the Big East College Hoops excitement reaches a new level. We've got number 1 Villanova taking on Temple. The action tips off Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1. We watched the game last night with number 2 UCLA. They looked really good. Boy, Villanova, great start to their season. UCLA out west playing well. Here's Dwight Lowry. Last week he was playing with a big club protecting his right hand, a lot smaller protection this week. That when he came down on the ground, that might have been pretty painful for him. Mike McCoy, who spent 9 years here in Carolina as an assistant. He was a wide receivers coach, quarterbacks coach, the passing game coordinator, and he always talks about Jake Delhomme as being so important to him. Joey Bosa going to the locker room here late in the first half. With San Diego getting the ball, he's going to get checked out. There's Isaiah Burse, no return. Things will start at the 25. Let's get another update. Here's Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Sam. Detroit looking to take a commanding lead in the NFC North. Tied game under 30 seconds left to go in the first half. 16-yard touchdown to Anquan Bolden. Detroit 10-3 at half.
How about the year Matthew Stafford's having?
A lot of people should be thinking about him maybe as far as that MVP conversation. It's been that good of a year in the way he's been able to win games at the end. 7 game-winning drives this year, 4th quarter comebacks for him. That's pretty impressive.
Thanks, Brady, and as always, thanks to Carissa Thompson. Chargers from the 25. It's been a brutal first half. Rivers throws, takes a hit, the ball dropped. Little behind Travis Benjamin. He reached back, did not hold on. Should have been caught. Look at this for San Diego. Punt, fumble, punt, interception, punt, fumble.
Here's the key. They're all, I mean, everything's been starting in their own territory, and half the time they've been backed up. You look at Carolina, they've been able to take advantage, been in plus territory, so at the very least, it seems like they're always coming away with the field goal.
And the injury to Melvin Gordon, their star running back, has affected them. Bursting through is Farrell. Nice run. That's a first down across the 35-yard line. Darrell Worley in on the stop. Worley back in the lineup. Third-round draft pick out of West Virginia. And support and return.
We just saw Joey Bosa go off the field. You're looking at Kenneth Farrow in the game because Melvin Gordon's here. I mean, 15 guys already on IR.
Farrell on the carry is hit right away and by Kurt Coleman, the safety. Go ahead, finish your thought.
It just seems like San Diego's been snake bitten really the last 2 seasons. Last year they had the 6th most players on IR, ton of injuries, and this year now leading the league with still 4 games to play. We've got a couple guys, key players, impact players, who've already left to go to the locker room. 2nd
and 7 for the Chargers. 3 wide receivers in. Rivers throws short to Antonio Gates. Brought down at the 44-yard line. Bring up a 3rd and 2. Shaq Thompson in on the stop for Carolina. Carolina still without Luke Kuechly, but as Jennifer Hale reported right at the top, he hopes to be back next week.
Yeah.
He was close to returning this week.
San Diego's got to try to find a way of getting a conversion here. It's really the first time they've been in a 3rd and short scenario.
Panthers showing blitz. Rivers short drop. Swings it out to Farrow. He's got enough for the first down. Kenny Farrow getting a chance to play and trying to make the most of it. San Diego has had a tough day here in Carolina. They haven't been able to get much going offensively, and they've suffered a lot of injuries. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. If you're John Pagano, you got to keep coaching your players right on defense.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, at this point, it's too early in the game 1 to give up. But even then, their offense has put their defense in bad position.
Yeah, they've actually done well to hold Carolina to 3 field goals. Carolina's had great field position. First down, Chargers at the 47. Flag on the play. Rivers airs it out way downfield for Williams. What a catch by Tyrell Williams. And he's down at the 8-yard line. Got to check out the flag as everybody has run down the field.
Offside. Defense number 99. That penalty is declined. Who's over the play? It's a first down.
45-yard pass to Tyrell Williams.
They try to utilize double moves really on both sides of the field. This time it's just a straight go route. And Phillip Rivers throws up just a catchable ball. It's essentially a jump ball. He's taking a chance. And he believes that Tyrell Williams will be able to step up and make a play when they need it most.
2nd-year receiver out of Western Oregon has a chance to reach 1,000 yards this season.
And when Keenan Allen went down, Tyrell Williams has been the guy who stepped up for the Chargers this season, really kind of taking over at that number 1 wide receiver spot.
1st and goal at the 7. Farrell never got started. That play was slow developing. And good penetration by Vernon Butler, the rookie out of Louisiana Tech. 1st-round draft pick of the Panthers. The ball back to the 9-yard line, a loss of 2. 2nd and goal for the Chargers. The Panthers have been good in the red zone defensively, not giving up a lot of touchdowns. All receivers out. Rivers buys time, looking into the end zone. And this time he throws it away as he was chased again by Vernon Butler. They'll bring up a 3rd and goal. Boy, the Chargers really could use a touchdown here.
They could, but you look at Chargers trying to work to Antonio Gates, but once again, because of the pressure and really the coverage downfield, just nowhere for Phillip Rivers to go with the football. That's part of the reason why the Carolina Panthers have been so good in the red zone this year. It's the combination of the pass rush and pushing the pocket matched with the coverage on the back end.
3rd and goal. Empty backfield for the Chargers. 3 receivers right, 2 to the left. Rivers throws for Hunter Henry, a touchdown. And the Chargers, late in the first half, come up with a big score to give them some life heading for the second half of this game. Hunter Henry's 6th touchdown catch.
And he's just going to find the soft spot in the zone. Phillip Rivers holds the defense with his eyes. That's why Thomas Davis and Trey Boston were late to react, because Rivers was looking off to the right, and then he flipped his hips, came right back over to the left to find Henry. That's now 10 touchdowns total by the tight ends for San Diego this year on 14 receptions. How about that? When they're targeted in the red zone, they're being productive. They're getting touchdowns.
26th touchdown pass thrown by Phillip Rivers. And the extra point try is good by Josh Lambo. So, with 1:03 remaining in the first half, the Chargers are on the board with their first positive of the first half. Let's find out what's coming up on the Visa halftime report. Kurt Menefee's got that for us. Kurt.
Coming up on the Visa halftime, the Broncos and Titans go at it in Nashville, and the Steelers and Bills battle it out in the snow, while the Colts look to give the Texans their 4th consecutive loss. It's all coming up on the Visa halftime. What are you doing?
Water bottle challenge. Almost got it.
Oh! Oh, there you go.
You got it.
We're out of time.
No, we're not.
Eventually. It's funny, he had the other 2 sitting up there like he'd already gotten those. He was just trying to get the 3rd one.
Now, can you do that?
Yeah, you give me 18 tries like that,
Okay.
I think I can get it done.
Yeah, 1 out of 18 is not bad. Phillip Rivers, 75-yard drive, 9 plays. The big play, 46-yard pass to Tyrell Williams.
And the interesting thing is going to be, depending on the field position for Carolina, what they're able to do with it, considering how good a field position they've had this entire first half. This might be actually the worst field position to start a drive in this game so far.
Carolina will get the kickoff to start the second half. The return by Joe Webb. And the 3rd-string quarterback, who's an excellent special teams player, is back to the 20-yard line. Just under a minute to go in this first half. Cam Newton, 10 for 8, Cam Newton is 6 for 15, 85. So again, his completion percentage is down.
There's been a couple drops in there, but also there's been a couple missed throws as well. And as we look at this drive, they've got plenty of time, 2 timeouts, and they've got some wide receivers who can get some chunks. Kelvin Benjamin is averaging 15 yards of reception coming into this game. You better believe they're going to continue to keep working on Trevor Williams.
Jonathan Stewart, 9 carries, 35 yards. Stewart on the carry here. Powers ahead, gets about 5 up close to the 25-yard line. And it looks like Carolina will be satisfied to run out the clock here in the first half.
They'll be getting the ball coming out at halftime, so maybe that's the other thought process to all of this is, hey, we've played well, we've built ourselves a nice lead. Let's just kind of take it into halftime, make our adjustments, and come back out for the second half.
We said it about Mike McCoy, but Ron Rivera, same approach. He says, we're playing hard in December. We're playing to win. We want to finish with wins and end on an upswing. Straight ahead with Stewart. Maybe a yard gain on the play.
And let's not forget either, it's not unprecedented that a team that's 4-8 hasn't made the playoffs. There's been a team that's done it before, but in fact it was the San Diego Chargers in the past. So it has been done before. Panthers will need some help though.
First half dominated by the Carolina Panthers. For San Diego, lots of turnovers really hurt. Halftime, Carolina 23, San Diego 7. Visa halftime report is next. First half moments are brought to you by Head and Shoulders.
Really, this has all been about the pressure
Stewart
on
over
Cam
the top.
Newton.
He's in. Touchdown. Fun pitches to the right to throw to Funchess. He's got it for a touchdown. And that was First Half Moments, brought to you by Head & Shoulders. Panthers take a 23-7 lead into the second half. They will get the kickoff to start the second half as Cam Newton awaits the kickoff. Cam Newton wasn't the star of the show. Actually, the star of the show was the defense for Carolina, which forced 3 turnovers.
Yeah, they came into the game second in the league in sacks, and it's been that pressure that has really forced San Diego into some adverse situations between interceptions from Phillip Rivers, a fumble as well, but it was K'Wan Short earlier, and then really the Carolina defense being able to capitalize and getting a fumble, getting up a couple interceptions where Phillip Rivers just kind of threw up a jump ball. Daryl Worley earlier in this game, but talking about the struggles of the Chargers coming into this game, it was in part because of Phillip Rivers. Some of the interceptions that he's thrown this year came into this game second in the league.
First half statistics, starting field position has been a big factor because of those turnovers. Carolina's had great field position. Total yard edge to Carolina. 4 sacks, as Brady mentioned, by the Carolina Panthers. Josh Lambo to kick it off. And Fosse Whitaker takes a knee. And let's check in with Jennifer Hale along the sideline. Jen.
Well, Sam, the Chargers desperate to protect Phillip Rivers and get some points on the scoreboard, but they're going to have to do it without Melvin Ingram. He's been ruled out with that hip injury. Joey Bosa, meanwhile, is a question mark. He is undergoing a concussion evaluation right now. Casey Hayward tried to rally the defense, get something going. Meanwhile, for Carolina, Devin Funchess isn't letting that mouth laceration slow him down, but trainers are having to work to keep the bleeding stopped, and he is now wearing a mouth guard for some protection, Sam.
Good idea. Thanks, Jen. Good report covering all the bases. Hope Joey Bosa is okay for San Diego. They've had a rough day with injuries. Panthers from the 25. Newton puts it up on first down. Try to hit Greg Olsen a little too high. And once again, they challenge Trevor Williams.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be the common denominator in the passing game. But you look at the Carolina Panthers offense, how efficient they've been so far today. It's been because of the field position they've been able to take advantage of and the turnovers, but in the red zone. It hasn't been as good as they were a year ago.
And the one time they didn't score on those last 5 possessions was at halftime. They had the ball and ran out, let the clock run out at the half. 2nd and 10 for the Panthers. Blitz picked up. Newton goes deep over the middle of Wilson. And he's brought down to the 40-yard line of the Chargers. Now Olsen, the primary target for Cam Newton.
And you see him working down the seam. You're going to see Trevor Williams begin to start working with them as Dwight Lowry tries to get back to the middle of the field. You couldn't put this ball any other place. It got just over the fingertips of Trevor Williams. And Olsen able to go up and make the nice play.
35-yard pickup on the pass from Newton to Olsen. Just inside the 40. It's a run by Cam Newton and gets about a yard on the play. The nose tackle, Damian Square, with the tackle. 3 catches in the game for Greg Olsen. As we mentioned, he's closing in on 3 consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons. That's never been done by a tight end in the NFL.
Yeah, it's been in part because, one, his connection, relationship with Cam Newton, but also because they've been able to run the football. That's what opens up things for the tight ends, is that play-action pass game.
Newton goes short to Philly Brown, and he's down to the 30-yard line. Pickup of 9 on the play, just across the 30-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 1 for Carolina.
You noted, and we talked about earlier, Joey Bosa not being a part of this Chargers defense in the second half. Well, the guy who's had to fill in for his place now is Kyle Emanuel, second-year player out of North Dakota State. He's kind of put himself in that rush end position. And so far early in this drive, what you're not seeing is as much pressure on Cam Newton.
David Yankee is in as a tackle eligible. Newton still has it, being rushed from the outside, got rid of it, and completes to Olsen inside the 20 and down at the 8-yard line. What a good safety valve. There he is.
Well, they call this really called the oh crap screen. I'll just use that verbiage for it. But everything's going to go this way, and then it's going to be Olsen who's going to leak out. He's going to fall down, and that's where you kind of say, oh crap, you get up and sneak out the backside for the conversion and the big play.
4 catches, 87 yards for Greg Olsen. Big time pressure by Tenny Palapoy. Took down Newton after he had released, but Newton with good timing got it to Greg Olsen. 1st and goal, Carolina. Fake the end around. Jonathan Stewart up the middle. Goes down to the 5-yard line. Good mix of plays here for Carolina.
All that misdirection too when you see Ted Ginn motion across the line of scrimmage. We saw them hand off earlier on a jet sweep. It keeps the defense honest. A lot of different things they have to account for. Whether it's Cam Newton keeping the football or handing the football off to Jonathan Stewart. So many things you have to deal with, and look at the balance.
That's what you talked about right at the top. Stewart, 12 carries, 43 yards. Tolbert's in the backfield with Newton. Everybody out. Newton throws deep and overthrows. Ed Dixon was the closest man to him, the number 2 tight end. That'll bring up a 3rd and goal for Carolina. San Diego missing Joey Bosa. Chris Landrum, a rookie out of Jacksonville State, is in the lineup.
This is that area of the field. This is that situation where it's really Greg Olsen working on the bottom of your screen. That's who I'd be trying to work towards, find that matchup.
Movement by the right tackle, Trey Turner.
False start. Offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty. It's still 3rd down.
Turner, one of those guys that we talked about right at the top, who's been moved around. He's a guard. He's been moved to tackle with injuries to Darrell Williams and to Michael Orr. Michael Orr went out, and Mike Remmers went from right tackle to left tackle. And then when Darrell Williams went in at right tackle, he got hurt, so Trey Turner has moved over to be the right tackle. Olsen's on the right side now.
Yeah, keep an eye out for Benjamin as well, though.
Okay.
Put those targets on the inside.
3rd and goal at the 10. And jumping across the line, flags fly. And Corey Legent. Is that a hard count that got him?
Yeah, and we've seen that a couple of times, in particular down around this area of the field. It got Carolina a 1st down in the 1st half.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 94. 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
See Corey pointing at Cam saying, you got me. See him at the bottom of your screen to the left. Good job by the Carolina offensive line, too, making sure that the officials were well aware. And Mike McCoy, I mean, these are the sorts of mistakes that really hurt you. You just get a 5-yard penalty moving back. Now you get that much closer.
Tolbert in the backfield with Newton on 3rd and goal from the 5. And Dixon, the tight end, also lined up in the backfield. Blitz coming. Newton throws it, broken up. Outstanding play by Dwight Lowry on the pass intended for Greg Olsen.
This is part of the aggressiveness of defensive coordinator John Pagano. They bring an all-out blitz. It's just one-on-one coverage, no safety help. Toomer tries to drop out at the end, but Lowry able to get a hand in on the football and disrupt the potential touchdown. Look at Kelvin Benjamin almost getting in there off the tip for a touchdown.
Good drive by Carolina, but once again it stalls, and Graham Gano on to try for his 4th field goal of the game. This will be a 23-yarder. He's 3 for 3 in the game. And make it 4 for 4. For San Diego, they've been able to keep Carolina out of the end zone several times, but the points keep mounting up. It's 26-7.
Game is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. By Chevrolet. More 2016 J.D. Power Dependability Awards than any other brand. And by the new Bacon King sandwich, only at Burger King.
That was quite a day at Baker Elementary School in San Diego. Several Chargers showed up. Second and third graders were expecting to hear results of an essay contest. They got bikes instead for the holidays.
What about that?
I love it.
Nice little gift. A little surprise for the kiddos.
Graham Gano set to kick off. Carolina Panthers with a 26-7 lead. Gano kicks it away. This one is, I thought it was returnable, but Burse took a knee. Check out what's going on in the NFC. Here's the playoff picture. Dallas has clinched a playoff spot. Now, if they win tonight, I think they may clinch #1 overall. That'll be tonight. Coming up, America's Game of the Week, Seattle and Green Bay. Seattle leading the NFC West. Detroit, they're on top of the NFC Central. Falcons in a great race with Tampa Bay. Giants right now have the #1 wild card spot. Carolina, even at 4-8 and hoping to be 5-8. Pass swings out to Farrell, gets a couple of yards and fights his way up to the 30. Good effort by the rookie out of Houston. But Carolina at 4-8, their chances are very, very, very slim. But, you know, to keep hope alive, if they win, they need other teams to lose.
Yeah, it's not unprecedented. It has happened before. So we've seen both the Chargers and the Panthers make it into the playoffs being 4-8. So pretty remarkable. Still got a chance. And I think that's why you're seeing this team play so hard right now.
Here's Farrell again. Farrell playing for the injured Melvin Gordon. Gordon went down with a hip injury. Wes Horton in on the stop. San Diego a couple of weeks ago signed Ronnie Hillman, former Denver Bronco, but they haven't activated him in either of the last couple of weeks.
Still trying to pick some things up. And look, when you're back in the backfield with a quarterback like Phillip Rivers, you know, pass protection is going to be a key component to all that. They need to make sure that they ensure that they're protecting their quarterback and they have a guy that understands his assignments in the backfield.
On 3rd and 1, tackle eligible is Kenny Wiggins. Straight ahead, Farrell, he's got it. Good effort by Farrell. First down for San Diego.
Part of the reason for optimism, too, if you're the Carolina Panthers and you're looking at this NFC South playoff picture, is the fact that there's been a lot of parity. I mean, you're looking at the current picture, and it's 7-5 for the Atlanta Falcons, and Tampa Bay sitting in that wild card spot. But you know, Carolina has won this division more than anyone else since 2002. But you look at how much parity there is. It's been almost a pretty equal share throughout the division.
Hunter Henry in motion. Rivers with time. Good protection out to Farrell. Farrell coming out of the backfield, gets across the 45 up to the 46-yard line. Shaq Thompson in on the stop. Shaq Thompson has become an important man for Carolina with his overall athletic ability. He runs very well. This way they can use him in coverage. Good tackler as a linebacker.
Good versatility. That's what it is. And actually, he was covering Hunter Henry downfield. He came off of Hunter Henry down to make the tackle on Farrell.
Farrell straight ahead. Another first down for the Chargers. Chargers moving the ball a lot better now than they did for most of the first half. Scored on their last possession of the first half.
Sometimes it takes a 2-minute drive to kind of get back into a flow and back into a rhythm. Maybe that's what we saw from San Diego at the end of the first half.
On the delay, Farrell gets a couple of yards before he's hit and brought down in Panthers territory at the 49. A pickup of 3 on the play. Tony Ely in on the stop for Carolina. Ron Rivera said to us during the week, they're not thinking about next year. They're thinking about winning and winning out and playing the type of football that they played last year when they were the 15-1 Carolina Panthers.
They're undefeated at this time, and you look at his success that he's had really at this part of the year, December and January. He always gets his teams to find ways to focus on the task at hand, and to winning these late games in December, January.
All receivers out. Rivers throws as he was falling down. A catch by Antonio Gates. Thomas Davis went for the ball and missed and fell down. And Gates came up with a catch and a big gain inside the 25.
An underthrown football, and Thomas Davis had his hands on it for a moment, but Gates with the focus and concentration is part of the reason why he's so special. You can see why Phillip Rivers takes the chance to give him an opportunity even when he's covered downfield.
Gain of 27 on the play, down to the Panthers 22. Rivers with a good drive here. Williams, the receiver to the right, the fake by Rivers. He throws, and it's off the hands of Hunter Henry, and then he took a hard hit. Trey Boston with a hit on Hunter Henry, who had his eyes on the ball, never saw the man coming.
Phillip Rivers excels at anticipating guys and throwing them open. That was an example of it. The problem was he put just a little bit too much air on this football, and it allowed Trey Boston to come in at the end and get the big hit on Hunter Henry, but really it made it a more difficult catch for Hunter Henry as he was trying to almost track it like a fly ball in the outfield.
Henry goes to the sideline to collect himself. 2nd and 10 for the Chargers at the Carolina 22. Phillip Rivers 13 for 22, 139 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Antonio Gates is back in the game. The end around to Travis Benjamin. Being chased, Trey Boston takes him out of bounds for a loss of a couple of yards. That's good play by the safety, Trey Boston. 3rd-year man out of North Carolina. Trey Boston.
You better believe the Carolina Panthers defense is well aware anytime they see Travis Benjamin in that position as Boston uses the hair to tackle.
That is legal.
It is legal.
A legal play when the hair that comes out of the helmet. Can't grab the guy between the shoulders with the shoulder pads. It would be a horse collar, but you can grab him by the hair. Here's 3rd and 12. Pressure, blitz from the outside, the pass complete to Gates, who fights his way down to the 11-yard line, and I think he's got a first down. Antonio Gates, good effort.
Well, and watch the route. He pushes up against run to the corner, puts on the brakes, and the key is he came back to the football. That's what helped put his body in between the football and the defender, Darryl Worley, and that's what allowed him to get the catch and the first down and keep this drive alive for San Diego.
Gain of 13. Antonio Gates, 4 catches, 54 yards. First down, Chargers at the Carolina 11-yard line. Good drive for San Diego. Farrell cutting it back. Breaks loose, lost his helmet on the play, and they stop the play. When the helmet comes off, the play is stopped.
It's going to be interesting to see where they mark this football. Looks like A.J. Klein was the defender that got his hand on Farrell's helmet and ripped it off.
They stopped, they marked the ball, they spot at the 9-yard line. And that's simply player safety. It just makes sense. I mean, great effort by Farrell, but the play is stopped at the 9. 2nd and 8 for the Chargers. And Phillip Rivers upset with something. Play clock was winding down.
This is a 30-second timeout.
Let's check in with Jennifer Hale along the sideline. Jen, what's happening?
Well, Sam, you may be wondering why we haven't seen more of Antonio Gates this game. When you watch how he's performing now, the Chargers really liked what they saw out of rookie Hunter Henry, and they wanted to leave him in, let him get into a rhythm, let him get comfortable. But clearly, Gates is showing right now that he can pop in anytime and be the typical old steady Gates that we all know and have to admire.
Well, it's not just Antonio Gates either. It's Phillip Rivers. You can see the confidence that he has in both tight ends, but more so maybe Antonio Gates still than Hunter Henry. But that'll come along.
No, it will. Hunter Henry's a good one.
Talking about, what, 13 years Phillip Rivers and Antonio Gates have been together?
Gates has caught passes of 27 and 13 yards on this drive. This is the 12th play of the drive for the Chargers. And they stopped the play. Rivers took a hit. There's flags on the play.
Ball start. Offense number 85. 5-yard penalty. It's second down.
So the man we've been praising takes a false start penalty. Antonio Gates moves the Chargers back to the 14.
And then the left tackle, King Dunlap, was upset because you mentioned the hit on Rivers. He had thought the play had stopped. He had stopped dropping back in his pass protection. That's what resulted in Rivers taking an unnecessary hit.
Have to get to the 1-yard line for a first down. Ball at the 14.
Keep an eye on Gates.
All receivers out. Rivers with time. Nobody there. I don't know if he anticipated someone being there. There was no one in the area with a Chargers uniform. The officials are getting together here.
Intentional grounding on the play. The quarterback was not under pressure. It's an incomplete pass, third down.
Okay.
That's the key piece, is he had to be under pressure. Phillip Rivers stepped up in the pocket, but it didn't seem like there was any sort of immediate concern. But everyone's going to be kind of pushing to the right side of the field. You see Rivers step up. Clearly a clean pocket. Got a couple guys, 3 guys sitting right there in the middle of the field. Someone had to have had a mental error on what the route was.
3rd and 13. All receivers out. Rivers runs out of trouble. Throws to the corner. It's up for grabs. It is incomplete. They played a little volleyball with it. And it comes down incomplete. Rivers upset with something.
Well, it's the pocket collapsing out around him. He had Antonio Gates working on A.J. Klein. You can see him at the top of your screen. But as he tries to step up, you see K1 short. He's getting up in his face. The pressure off the edge that pushes him out of the pocket. He just throws another ball up for grabs. If you're wondering why Rivers is second in the league in interceptions, this might be one of those reasons.
Yeah. There were 2 receivers in the area. There were also 3 defenders. Field goal try, Josh Lambo, right down the middle. The Chargers have a long drive. Stalls inside the 10. The field goal by Lambo, and Carolina's lead cut.
Phillip Rivers trying to coach up the guys on the outside, and they're going to be a big part right now. Maybe he's talking about the miscommunication on the second down play. Kind of threw out there, no one was there. Try to get an understanding of what was going on and making sure everyone's in the right position.
Chargers have scored their last 2 possessions, a touchdown late in the first half and a field goal here, 32-yard field goal by Josh Lambo, who kicks it off through the end zone. And the Panthers will start from the 25-yard line. Cam Newton and the Panthers with a big lead.
Today's game is sponsored by Verizon. It's always a great gift on Verizon.
Sam Rosen, Brady Quinn, Jennifer Hale here in Charlotte. Glad you're with us. The Carolina Panthers trying to bounce back from that embarrassing loss at the hands of the Seattle Seahawks last week. They have had a strong effort today. They've controlled this game from the outset. And start from the 25, 2 tight ends in. Newton being rushed, in trouble, tried to get it to Jonathan Stewart. It was almost intercepted by Melvin Ingram, the defensive end. Or maybe it was Corey Legion, not Ingram.
Offense number 84. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
And that call is going to be on Ed Dixon, who was way downfield. And he was almost 10 yards past where they were trying to set up the screen. But Corey Legion was the guy who really read it, and it forced Cam Newton to hold on to the football longer than he wanted to.
So the ball back to the 15. A 1st and 20. There's Corey Leggett, veteran out of University of Illinois. Joey Bosa remains out of the lineup for San Diego. 3 wide receivers in for Carolina. Newton steps up on the quarterback draw and keeps pushing, gets 5 yards back up to the 20. We go down to the sideline to Jennifer Hale. Jen.
Sam, you just mentioned Joey Bosa. He will be not returning to this game. The San Diego Chargers will have to finish without him today. He did undergo that concussion protocol and passed, but trainers tell me they were concerned about his neck. They think there may be some lingering issues there, so better safe than sorry. They are going to hold him out for the rest of this game.
Thanks, Jen. There you see the injuries that the San Diego Chargers have sustained, and now Cam Newton is coming to the sideline after taking a hit on that last run on the quarterback draw.
Yeah, he doesn't seem too happy about it. I don't know if it's from the hit or from the fact that they have to take him off the field. I mean, and again, that's part of this initiative really to protect players. The independent neurologist was able to see whether or not there are these sorts of hits on the field, and if a player gets up slow or has a helmet-to-helmet hit, like you just saw, they're going to buzz down. They're going to say, hey, let's make sure we take this player off the field, remove him from the game, and make sure he's okay before we send him back in.
Cam Newton being checked out. We talked that ongoing discussion. How much should he run? Should he run the ball the way he does because he's so big and powerful?
Well, that was a called run. So, I mean, there's no really question there. That's maybe more on the play calling, but seeing Derek Anderson get in the game, who got a lot of discussion throughout the course of this week because of how last week's game started.
Kyle Emanuel on the stop on Jonathan Stewart. Anderson in for 1 play, comes off, and Cam Newton comes back onto the field.
So much has been made about the hits on Cam Newton this year, and he's discussed it at length, and the media outlets have discussed it at length.
Legitimate, though. I think there's a legitimate discussion there.
There's no doubt about it, and I guess there's no better example than Joey Bosa getting a neck injury from him hitting Cam Newton. I mean, he's not the same type of quarterback, so when he gets some of these hits, I don't know that officials look at him the same way as they do other quarterbacks in the league.
Newton being rushed, gets away, flag on the play, throws deep downfield, overthrows Philly Brown. But there's a flag in the Carolina backfield.
Holding offense number 74. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is 4th down.
It's on Mike Remmers, the left tackle, and it brings up a 4th down, and Carolina will be punting for only the 2nd time of the game.
And look, San Diego's not out of this. They get a stop here. They're going to get the ball with good field position. They scored in the last 2 drives. You're kind of starting to feel the momentum now, maybe shifting to San Diego.
Velarde's kick is a high one. And taken by Burr. Spins away from one and taken down on a good tackle by Fozzie Whitaker. Carolina defense, which has been strong throughout the game, gotten good pressure on Phillip Rivers, back on the field when we return. This Wednesday, from the producer of Empire, follow 3 talented singers as they struggle to find fame, featuring Queen Latifah, Benjamin Bratt, and Lenny Kravitz. Star special premiere after the Empire fall finale, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox. There's a guy who could be a star on that show, Luke Kuechly. Hopefully he'll be back next week for Carolina. Rivers under pressure, connects. Great throw, great catch by Dontrell Inman.
It's the timing, it's the anticipation that allows this play to work. You look at Phillip Rivers, there's no room in that pocket, but he finds a way to get the ball out in an catchable spot for Dontrell Inman.
He's a magician sometimes. 14 for 25, 152 yards for Phillip Rivers. Kenny Farrell on the carry inside the 45. Brought down at the 44-yard line. First 6 drives, just a nightmare for the San Diego Chargers. Last 2 drives, they've been able to score. And now another injury. Boy. And again, this is the guard, Orlando Franklin, shaken up on the play. Orlando Franklin walking slowly to the sideline.
And this is an example of friendly fire. It looks like Kenneth Farrow runs into Orlando Franklin, and that's where he starts to go down. Not sure if his helmet got him in the side or in the back, but that was when it looked like he grimaced in pain.
Spencer Pulley, rookie out of Vanderbilt, replaces Orlando Franklin at guard. 2nd and 9 for the Chargers. And the short throw complete to Tyrell Williams down the sideline, steps out of bounds at the 22-yard line. That turns into a good gain of 22 yards. Just a little pass to Williams.
What about the emergence of Tyrell Williams? You know, he's an undrafted free agent, came to San Diego a year ago, was primarily on special teams, and finally cut his his first touchdown pass, in week 17 last season. Now all of a sudden, with the injury to Keenan Allen, he's really emerged as their leading wide receiver.
2 catches, 68 yards in this game. Kenny Wiggins is a tackle eligible. Straight ahead is Farrow. Gets down to the 20-yard line, and the Chargers are threatening to score again here. They could make this a real game going into the fourth quarter.
They're charging right back, and as we venture into the fourth quarter, you know, both of these teams have given up a ton of points in the fourth quarter. Neither team has really been able to close it out at the end of games, and that's something where I think if they're able to capitalize here, things could get really interesting in the fourth quarter.
Williams left. 2 tight ends, Henry and Gates in the game, both to the right side, along with Inman. Fake the draw, Rivers gets hit, throws to the end zone, the catch by Inman, and it's through the touchdown. He caught it at the pylon. Dontrell Inman with a great grab, and how about Rivers hanging in there?
The key is if the ball crosses the plane. I know his foot touched the pylon, let's see.
And wow, that's close.
It's tough to tell from that angle, but you got to believe the official. He is right there on it. So you have to give him the benefit of the doubt that the ball did. I mean, he had the best vantage point. Boy, that looks close, though.
All right, let's see if Ron Torbert will have to go under the hood to check it out. They're checking it out upstairs. All scoring plays are reviewed.
Well, the issue is going to be, I don't know that there's any angle or anything that would be conclusive that would let us know one way or another, which would mean it would most likely be upheld, whatever the call was on the field.
And it has been confirmed. It is a touchdown. Dontrell Inman with a great grab, and Phillip Rivers comes through again. His second touchdown pass, and they're going for 2. 2-point try here. Trying to cut the lead to 8.
Just keep an eye on this guy, Antonio Gates.
Carolina's lead was 23 at one time. Throwing to Gates in the corner. He's got it. No, they ruled it incomplete. He dropped it as he went to the ground. Worley covering on the play.
The ball was underthrown. If Phillip Rivers gets this out there to the pylon, this is a catch and a conversion, but Worley able to slough off of the wide receiver and get back into coverage to disrupt Gates' ability to be able to come down with the football.
He had it for a moment, and as you said, Worley got his hands in there. Good play by Worley.
How big of a difference has he made coming back for this Carolina Panthers secondary this week?
But here's the story now. 30 seconds to go in the third quarter, and it's a 10-point game.
And this is why it's hard to ever think that a team led by Phillip Rivers is out of it. I mean, this guy, regardless of who's healthy, who's not, how the defense is playing, he's going to find a way to get this group to keep playing and keep fighting to get back into these games.
4th touchdown reception of the season for Dontrell Inman. Phillip Rivers with 2 touchdown passes in the game, 27 this season. So the Chargers, who were down at one point 23-0, are now down by 10, 26-16. Fozzie Whitaker takes a knee. Panthers start from the 25. We check out the AFC playoff picture. Patriots, there they are again. Kansas City, that big win over the Raiders. They're in first place in the AFC West. Baltimore will be playing tomorrow night against New England. Houston Texans in a big game in Indianapolis have the lead in the fourth quarter. And Oakland and Denver right now in the wild card spots.
And keep an eye on the Miami Dolphins. They're up right now on the Arizona Cardinals at home. They're a team that could sneak in all of a sudden one of those wild card spots.
Miami leading 21-9 in starting the fourth quarter. Two tight ends for Carolina. Both go to the right side. Olsen and Dixon. Jonathan Stewart, no hole there. Fights his way for about half a yard. As the time winds down here in the third quarter. And this game is turned around with the San Diego Chargers scoring their last three possessions.
And this is a defense that has been really good against the run, so they're going to force Cam Newton. They're going to be able to hold the football. They're going to have to try to throw and get some conversions going in the passing game.
End of the third quarter. Panthers lead the Chargers by 10. We are back in Charlotte. Sam Rosen, Brady Quinn, Jennifer Hale. And you know if it's the San Diego Chargers, it's going to come down to a one-score game. You had to know it.
That's pretty much what their season's been this year, last year. They're always playing in tight games.
Now, it's a 10-point lead for Carolina, but they have not been good in fourth quarters this season. Newton on first down throws too high. That was a second down throw, excuse me. Too high for Greg Olsen. San Diego Chargers, one-score games is synonymous with the Chargers. 11 games this season decided by 8 points or fewer.
And it's been 16 over the course of we talked about. Their losses, 16 have been by 8 points or fewer. So they're constantly playing in tight games.
3rd and 9, Fozzie Whitaker in the backfield with Cam Newton. Newton looking, being pressured, in trouble. They've got him. Landrum's got him. Chris Landrum, the rookie out of Jacksonville State, with the sack of Cam Newton. Second sack of the game for the Chargers. And that is a 3-and-out for Carolina.
And this is a coverage sack, but you're going to see Landrum at the top of your screen. He's eventually going to find his way to Cam Newton as he steps up in the pocket because of the pressure created by Polopoi. But good job by the San Diego Chargers secondary, covering down, nowhere to go with the football.
Chargers defense comes up big. And you can't discount the fact that several times in this game they have kept Carolina out of the end zone and forced field goals. Trying to return his burst, but he lost yardage and is brought down back at the 26-yard line.
He lost a shoe as well.
Oh, yeah. That's a nice shoe. I could use one of those. San Diego defense doing a good job keeping the team in the game.
Today's game is sponsored by T-Mobile. Switch to the network built for unlimited data.
There's the picture of the holiday season. Santa yesterday with the kids at the mall. Santa today watching football.
He's making his rounds. He needs to rest up. He's got a big day ahead of him.
Chargers start from the 26-yard line. They've scored the last three possessions. 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Farrow is stopped. Oh, good play by K'Wan Short. Phil Rivers had a big third quarter, 7 for 10 for 115 yards.
Yeah, to me it all started really with him getting into a flow before the first half. The 2-minute drive for a touchdown to Hunter Henry. This kind of allowed them to then get back into a rhythm. He started to find some open tight ends, receivers downfield, and capitalize on some big plays.
A touchdown pass to Dontrell Inman. Second and 11. Fake. Swing it out to Hunter Henry. And he is grabbed high by Thomas Davis. We get a quick update from Kurt Menefee. Kurt.
Stop me if you've heard this before. Lions down in the fourth quarter. Matthew Stafford this time, his first touchdown run of the season, but it puts them in front of Chicago 20-17 at the 2-minute warning, trying to win their 5th in a row and their 8th come from behind 4th quarter win of the year. Sam.
Thanks, Kurt.
It's unbelievable, that team this year.
Yeah, the Lions are something.
You talk about, a team that's been always within one score, one touchdown. It's been the Lions all season long.
Bears are hanging in there. They've had a lot of injuries, but last week they had the win over San Francisco, and they're playing the Lions tough in Detroit. Pressure on Rivers. He throws. It's intercepted. Intercepted by Shaq Thompson. 4th turnover of the game for the Chargers, and that's been the story of the season.
And that's why Carolina raves about Shaq Thompson, is his ability to defend even wide receivers out in the slot, but even the best tight ends. His athleticism, his versatility. Watch him undercut Antonio Gates. Gates tried to give that step like he was going to push vertical. The reason why Shaq Thompson doesn't respect it, he's a little bit younger. And he's one of those guys who was a two-way player in college, has a ton of athleticism and can run. And Phillip Rivers, you mentioned it, Sam. It's been the story of his season.
Yeah.
But this is the position that he's been in. For people who get upset about all the turnovers, they're constantly playing from behind. He's got to take chances. They don't have Melvin Gordon, their running back.
See the numbers there. Now Cam Newton throws outside to Ted Ginn, inside the 15, and pulled down at the 14-yard line. Now it's up to the Chargers. You know what's on the line? Chargers have had a turnover, have forced a turnover in every game this season. They haven't had one today.
Yeah, it would break a streak that's the longest right now in the NFL. Another thing that you're looking to see is whether or not the San Diego Chargers defense can get a stop again in the red zone. They've been tough all game long, dealing with the turnovers and be able to force Carolina to kick field goals.
Tackle eligible is David Yankee, number 61. First down, Panthers at the Chargers 14. Jonathan Stewart trying to get to the outside, and he's run out of bounds at the 11-yard line. Let's see, make it to 10. Give him another yard. Gain of 4 on the play. So the big turnaround just as the Chargers had climbed back into the game, gotten to a 10-point deficit. The interception thrown by Phillip Rivers.
Again, this is that area of the field where Cam Newton hasn't rushed as much this season as he did last year and even in years past. He's trying to improve himself as a pocket passer, but don't be surprised if we don't see him taking off at some point or if there's not a design run at some point in this drive.
3 wide receivers in the game, and Cam Newton turns and calls timeout. Play clock was winding down, and the Panthers decide to talk it over. Small screen, stadium-sized content. Watch live local Sunday games on your smartphone with NFL Mobile. Yeah, there you go. That's how you watch the games. As soon as we leave the stadium, we get the smartphones out and start watching NFL Mobile to see the other games around the league.
Looking for updates, looking for all kinds of stuff going on.
Here come the Panthers on 2nd and 6. Cam Newton 10 for 24, 160 yards, 1 touchdown. Blitz coming. Whoa. Newton stepped away and throws it away. Wow, did that blitz come from the outside? Was it Ingram? Ingram was one and Perryman the other after Cam Newton, and he stepped away from both.
Well, that was a mental error on someone on the right side. It could have been Trey Turner, but I mean, look at Ingram coming off the edge. I would imagine Norwell Poling was the man who was supposed to be responsible for him, given the fact that Trey Turner came down on the inside. But here's the issue. There's been so many moving parts, guys moving positions. Right. You never know if someone might have blown an assignment. Trey Turner, normally a guard, now out there playing right tackle for the Panthers.
3 receivers in the game on 3rd and 6.
Benjamin, only 1 catch today. He's down here at the bottom of your screen.
He throws for Benjamin off his hands, and a flag on the play. He was tied up with Casey Hayward, and it's against Hayward.
You know, you kind of get that 5-yard cushion I don't know. You be the judge.
Pass interference. Defense, number 26. Automatic first down at this point of a foul.
Boy, we've seen a lot worse.
Yeah, it didn't seem like there was a whole lot there. You could see Hayward getting his left arm on Benjamin's right arm. That's really the thing. Did he interfere with him catching the football? Yes. So I think the official is going to go ahead and throw that flag and make that call based on what he saw with that left arm of Hayward grabbing Benjamin's right arm.
And it's a 1st and goal for Carolina. San Diego makes 3 substitutions. They have the tackle eligible for Carolina, David Yankee, number 61. And whistles stop the clock. And a timeout.
This is San Diego's second charge timeout of the half. 30 seconds in left.
Maybe they weren't comfortable with the substitutions that had been made. And with exactly 11 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter, Carolina with a 26-10 lead. Coming up next, America's Game of the Week. Some of you will see Seattle Seahawks at the Green Bay Packers. Last we saw, it was snowing in Green Bay. Some of you will see New Orleans at Tampa Bay, and others will see Atlanta at the LA Rams, all coming up on America's Game of the Week.
What about Green Bay? I mean, they're playing at home. They're used to these sorts of conditions. Need a win. I mean, this is one of those must-win scenarios if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive, especially with Detroit up on Chicago right now.
And that Detroit-Chicago game, 20-17 Detroit, with 37 seconds to go in the game. Here's Newton throwing, and it's intercepted. The Chargers got that interception. It's Travon Reed. Travon Reed going down the sideline. He needs 1 block on Newton. He's got it, and he's in for the touchdown.
Unbelievable.
Wow. The Chargers got their turnover. This is a 100-yard return.
He was touched there, but he wasn't down.
No.
I mean, at that point, he had gotten back up and started the process of the return. Look at Travon Reed, first-year player of Auburn. What a game-changing play.
Travon Reed, the first-year man out of Auburn.
Interception, return for a touchdown. We will review the play. Timeout.
The San Diego Chargers have had a turnover by their defense in every game this season. You see, Mike, I knew you'd be back with us.
I never went far away, Sam. I never went far away.
Now, explain what happened. You think this is down at the 2-yard line?
I think they'll rule him down at the 2-yard line because when he gets control of the ball, first gets control right there, you see 13 grab his arm, and now he's going to the ground, and when he hits there with control, that to me makes him down by contact. So if I'm the replay official,
the field will be changed. It is an interception by San Diego. If the defender was down by contact at the 3-yard line, it'll be San Diego's ball, 1st and 10 at their 3-yard line. Please put 10 minutes 58 seconds on the game clock. 10:58. It'll start on the snap.
A good call by you, Mike, and thanks for helping us out, and thanks for explaining it for us.
you got it, Sam.
So it is an interception, and once again, the Chargers defense comes through. Their streak is down 19 games with a turnover going back to last season.
Yeah, what a job defensive coordinator John Pagano has done with this defense and instilling that sort of culture there defensively. Getting turnovers, trying to help out their offense when they struggle. But what about the timeout before that play even took place to ensure that they have the right personnel, they had the play call they wanted to as well. Let's not forget that, because now they're left with only 1 timeout.
All right, it's still a 10-point lead for Carolina. Chargers start from the 3-yard line. Rivers, short to Farrow, hit by Shaq Thompson. Good play by Shaq Thompson. And if you joined us late, Kenneth Farrow, the first year, the rookie running back out of Houston, has been carrying the running load for San Diego ever since their star running back, Melvin Gordon, went down with a hip injury.
The guy who's really been carrying the load to Phil Rivers.
Yeah.
The job he's had to do to continue to keep his team in this game and the defense.
2nd and 9 at the 4-yard line. 3 wide receivers in. Rivers short drop, throws wide of Dontrell Inman. He felt pressure. He was in the end zone. He knew he was there, and he had to get rid of it in a hurry.
It's pressures up the middle, pressures off the edges. Coney Ely was there at the end. It's Carolina Panthers defensive front. You can see why they came into this game #2 in the league in sacks.
Sam Rosen, Brady Quinn, Jennifer Hale here in Charlotte. Glad you're with us for the NFL on Fox. Carolina leading San Diego 26-16. Little over 10 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. And San Diego with a 3rd and 9 at their own 4-yard line. Rivers under pressure in the end zone. Buying time, in trouble, it's a safety. Mario Addison, one of their top pass rushers, was there, trapped him, and took him down.
Well, it felt suffocating. And you're going to see the coverage downfield. They kind of drop back into a cover 2 Tampa look. He had an opportunity low, but the problem was the pocket collapsed around him. And by that point in time, he had nowhere to go but to take the safety.
Today's game is sponsored by K Jewelers. For 100 years, every kiss begins with K.
I was thinking of taking that Panther home, putting it on the front lawn. It would look great.
You must have a huge front lawn because that thing's gigantic.
It's a beautiful, beautiful statue. I love it every time we come here. So, what a big play by Mario Addison, and the Carolina defense coming up big when they needed it.
Yeah, Addison capitalized off of Coney Ely's pressure. He's the guy that forced Rivers out of the pocket.
On the free kick, the return by Ted Ginn. He's got room. If he gets to the outside, Kaiser's the only man, and the punter able to push him out of bounds. There's a flag back at midfield. Couple of flags.
It's going to be on Travon Reed, the guy who had the huge interception before that last series for San Diego.
The return, holding number 25 of the return team. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Carolina's ball, 1st down.
Excuse me. You'll see on the right side of your screen, I believe it was...
That's Young.
Yeah, Young was holding Travon Reed.
It's right there.
Yeah, excuse me, sorry. I had it mixed up
Yeah, you
there.
had the right guy.
The right guy who got held, he wasn't holding.
That's David Yankee, who's the tackle eligible. There's the man. Young was called for the hold. That's Lou Young, the 1st-year man out of Georgia Tech, as safety. Cam Newton, again, under 500 completion percentage, but his team with a 12-point lead. Jonathan Stewart on the carry, stopped for no gain. Carissa Thompson's got an update for us.
Sam, what a game here in Philly. Washington down 1, under 2 minutes left in the game. Chris Thompson, 25-yard run, puts his team up 27-22, and there's a minute 30 left in this one.
Thanks, Carissa. Washington again trying to stay alive in that race in the NFC East. Detroit has beaten Chicago 20-17, and the Lions have won 5 in a row, and they're now 9-4 leaders in the NFC Central.
I think people are starting to believe in the Detroit Lions.
NFC North.
Their ability to make something happen.
On the carry, Fozzie Whitaker. And out of bounds near midfield. Spot the ball at the 49-yard line. Jaleel Adai forced him out. Fozzie Whitaker played briefly with San Diego.
A lot of connections between these two teams, two staffs. Talked about Mike McCoy spending some time here in Carolina. Jeff Davidson, the offensive line coach for San Diego, spent some time here in Carolina.
On 3rd and 2, Jonathan Stewart stopped just as he was crossing midfield. Good work in the middle of the defense. Corey Toomer and Kyle Emanuel combining to stop Jonathan Stewart. They stood him up just as he came across midfield.
Look at the job of Corey Toomer. You're going to see him. He's a come up. Excuse me, that's Perriman, and then Toomer kind of cleans up from the backside. But he's a guy who didn't start the season with this team. He's bounced around a little bit throughout his NFL career. Spent some time in Seattle and Dallas, St. Louis, Oakland, and then finally wound up here in San Diego.
What do you think of this call? 8 minutes to go. Carolina with the lead, 12-point lead. They're going for it on 4th and 1. Newton hands to Stewart, and he gets through, and he almost broke it. It's a first down. Well,
that's why they call him Riverboat Ron.
Riverboat Ron made the call to go for it at midfield, and it worked. 12-yard gain.
And there was nothing but green grass if Jonathan Stewart was going to be able to break this tackle and get to the end zone. But Corey Toomer almost got that ball out too at the last second, but able to save potentially a touchdown.
18 carries, 59 yards for Jonathan Stewart. Tolbert's in at fullback. Dixon is the tight end. Stewart stopped, dropped for a loss. Let's get an update on Corey Toomer from Jennifer Hale. Jen.
Yeah, Sam, Brady was talking about his incredible journey through the NFL. I got to talk to him yesterday, and he told me, you know, multiple coaches throughout his career have told him he wasn't smart enough to play football at this level, and that's really motivated him. He's wearing the green dot. He's making the calls on defense, and he said, hey, he wants to pay off his coach's trust in him, but of course he also wants to prove the naysayers wrong, Sam.
Great stuff, Jen. And you look at that green dot. That means he's getting all the calls from the defensive coordinator. He's got to communicate it to everyone else, and that's not an easy task if you haven't been in this system for a while.
Toss to Fozzie Whitaker, trying to turn the corner. Good job by the Chargers. Dropped him for a loss. That's back-to-back tackles for losses by the Chargers defense. But now time is the Chargers' enemy. 6:25 remaining in the fourth quarter. And the Chargers have only one timeout remaining.
Yeah, we touched on it before. They used that timeout in the last possession for Carolina down in the red zone, where Trevon Reed was able to come up with a huge interception to prevent any points. But you got to wonder, maybe they should have just kind of went with the call they had or the personnel they had on the field.
3rd and 15 for the Panthers. Have to get to the 28-yard line for a first down. Newton sends all the receivers out, throws, and it's dropped. Just a little short on the pass for Ted Ginn, and he couldn't dig it out. Panthers punting unit comes out. 3rd punt of the game for Michael Pilardi. Newton a little disappointed.
You look at his struggles the past 3 weeks. I mean, this is 4 games now where his completion percentage has been under 50%. And it's a number of things, number of factors, but at the end of the day, that throw was a very makeable throw for him.
Low snap. Pilardi with the kick that goes, bounces inside the 5, and the Panthers got there. Oh, great play by Colin Jones. He kept the ball in play, and it's down at the 2-yard line. There's hustle. Glad you're with us for the NFL on Fox. What a game this has been. Back and forth with crazy things happening, all kinds of injuries, plays, replays, reviews. These are the things that have happened. Fumbled by Phillip Rivers. Carolina able to cash in. Rivers throwing it up for grabs.
We've seen this a number of times this year from Phillip Rivers, and it's really been the Carolina Panthers capitalizing off of it, and then Rivers started to step up. He started to kind of change the flow of the game when he started to pick things up. But once again, the interceptions this season, that's been the Achilles heel for Phillip Rivers and the San Diego Chargers offense. And last drive had to be forced to take a safety because of all the pressure that Carolina Panthers defensive front has put on him today. Kind of reminded me of Arkansas basketball team back. They used to do that full court press. It just seems like it's been suffocating so far today.
See that middle line? Bosa, Gordon, and Mager. 3 starters out with injuries during the course of this game.
We have 15 guys on IR this season.
Rivers starts from the 3-yard line. Fakes, throws low, incomplete. Try to get it to Antonio Gates. That one break They thought for a moment they might have turned this game around with that great interception by Trevon Reed, which he returned all the way and originally was called a touchdown. But on review, it was shown that he was down at his own 4-yard line. So that was a big play.
Yeah, it was
the Panthers.
Could have been game-changing. What you're seeing, though, is the coverage by Carolina. It's not allowing Phillip Rivers to get the ball out of his hand quite as quickly as he'd like to right now with all the pressure that's been sustained.
From the end zone, hits Gates at the 7. Gates fights his way up to the 9. A.J. Klein, the middle linebacker, was playing in place of Luke Kuechly, made the stop.
Gives him a little bit more breathing room back there, puts you back within third and manageable.
There's Luke Kuechly, and along with A.J. Klein along the sidelines. Klein's done a nice job filling in for Luke Kuechly. Third and 3 for the Chargers, 5 minutes to go. And down by 12 points. He throws and completes to Dontrell Inman. First down, San Diego at the 20-yard line. But the clock's still moving.
This is where San Diego has to pick up the pace, down by 12 points. You know they can do that. I mean, we've seen that in the course of Phillip Rivers' time in his career, but even in this game.
Rivers 21 for 35, 236 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Rivers under pressure. Looking downfield and finally throws it away. Nobody open downfield. Good job by the Panthers.
We had Antonio Gates coming shallow across the field. The problem is the Panthers' defensive front is getting so much push from the inside of the pocket that it's forcing Phillip Rivers to have to try to escape to the outside, and it's kind of obstructing his view of some of those easier completions around the short middle of the field.
San Diego will play Washington. Carolina will play at Washington next week. San Diego will play home against Oakland. Rivers with time going deep. Way downfield for Travis Benjamin, and it's broken up. Started with Darryl Worley covering, and then he got help as well from the safety coming over. Kurt Coleman, there's Worley, his return to the lineup. Coleman's return to the lineup, even though the young secondary, and they're learning, but they've helped the defense play better.
Yeah, part of the issue with the Panthers this season was they kind of dramatic turnover in their secondary. Josh Norman's not here, Roman Harper's not here, so they decided to go with 2 rookie cornerbacks, and that's going to be part of it. But you're also missing that key part of the safety position, Roman Harper. Good play by Coleman. They've gotten better as the years gone on.
They get the play off. Rivers waits, throws deep again for Gates, and this one's almost intercepted. That was Coleman coming over. The safety shaking up a little bit on the play, but a good play by Coleman.
Well, Coleman was the aggressor. He's the one that went up for this football. I thought Antonio Gates could have made a play on it, but he kind of just put his hands out instead of trying to stop and then go and elevate and high point the football. That's 2 plays in a row now. I've been watching the Carolina Panthers turn into wide receivers. Really, the receivers for the Chargers have been the defensive players.
And here's the ball game with 4:03 to go. It's 4th and 10 for the Chargers at their own 20, and they're going for it. Rivers gets time, and again he puts it up deep, way down, and this time it's intercepted. And staying there is Coleman. This time he got the interception. Kurt Coleman with the interception, the 5th turnover of the game, 3rd interception thrown by Phillip Rivers.
Well, Phillip Rivers is going to go down. He's going to go down swinging. But look at Kurt Coleman. That's 3 plays in a row now that he's almost had a pick, nearly had a pick. He's been a part of it. He does a good job of making a break back on the football. Go back and look at this play. Tyrell Williams did get behind the defense, but Phillip Rivers put that football in a spot where Kurt Coleman had a better chance than Tyrell Williams did.
I guess I would have preferred he throw something shorter to get the first down and try to keep things alive, but he went for it all.
Yeah, I thought the Carolina Panthers defense did a good job of putting some defenders underneath around the sticks, making it hard, and maybe they felt like they had a better shot of taking a shot downfield, maybe get a pass interference, maybe get a big play.
Breaking through is Jonathan Stewart, who gets up across the 35-yard line. Well, this game, unless something dramatic happens, this game looks like it belongs to the Carolina Panthers.
Which isn't out of the question, based on
right.
how this game's gone today.
Man, but the big number, as it's been throughout the season for San Diego, 5 turnovers and throw in a safety on top of that. Here's what's coming up next. America's Game of the Week. Many of you will see Seattle at Green Bay. Some of you will see New Orleans at Tampa Bay, and others will see Atlanta at the LA Rams. There have been some many memorable moments. Packers defeating the Seahawks in the playoffs with Brett Favre and Matt Hasselbeck. Seahawks beating the Packers in the NFC Championship game a couple of years ago on their way to the Super Bowl. Cam Newton on the keep, slides down, and he didn't get the first down.
No, and it's because obviously the quarterback declares themselves down like that when they slide, the spot's going to be marked at where the ball was, and it was clearly behind the first down marker.
Maybe he thought he had it when he started to slide, but nevertheless, he's a little short, about 1.5 yards short. Tackle eligible is David Yankee, number 61, from Mike McCoy. Again, a long trip back to an area that he loves, where he was an assistant coach for 9 years and really got his coaching experience going. First down for Carolina. And we get an update from Carissa Thompson. Carissa.
Oh, we got a good one in Miami here. Arizona was trailing 23-15 with just over 3 left in the game. Carson Palmer, 8-yard touchdown to J.J. Nelson, and then they go for 2 here, and that is also good to David Johnson. Game tied, 23 all at the 2-minute warning. Sam, Brady, and Jen.
Big comeback for Arizona. Thanks, Carissa. Washington beat Philadelphia 27-22. Philadelphia on a bad losing streak, now 5-8. Tennessee beating Denver 13-10. Tennessee tied with Houston for first place in the AFC South. Houston beating Indianapolis 22-17. We're coming down to the 2-minute warning. San Diego's out of timeouts. Carolina Panthers have a 12-point lead as they look to get a win and bounce back. It's been an enjoyable time for the hometown fans.
Today's game is sponsored by HP. Keep reinventing.
That's a light rain falling here in Charlotte. Temperatures around 40 degrees. And for Phillip Rivers, big disappointment. 3 interceptions thrown today. He has the most in the NFL with 17. 5 turnovers and a safety. Jonathan Stewart trying to spin away, breaks a couple of tackles and gets across the 40-yard line. Jaleel Adai with the tackle. Today's game produced by Fran Morrison, directed by Scott Katz, technical producer Patrick Carrion, the technical director Kyle Collins, associate director Yvonne Wagner, and the broadcast associate Sam Younger. Studio show produced by Bill Richards, directed by Stephanie Medina. Kimball Bergman's our spotter, J.D. Rutledge our statistician in the booth, and Matt Shapiro is our statistician in the control truck. We thank everybody for their help. We wish everybody a happy holiday season. Carolina Panthers will go to 5-8. And before they do, Cam Newton calls one more timeout. 1:11 remaining in the game. Carolina will be 5-8, and San Diego will be 5-8 after this one's over. Hey, these are the hardest working people you'll meet in your entire lives. They are up early. They are working late. They get the cameras set up. They bring you the best pictures. You guys do it all. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Look at that. They're having fun, even though it's raining.
Where'd the rain come from? That wasn't in the forecast this morning.
It's the time of year where it should be snow. But I don't think the weather got the message.
That was in Buffalo. Remember that? We'd said that already. There's Stewart. Stewart is brought down by Damian Square. Just take a look at what's happening in the NFC in the playoffs. Dallas and the Giants play at the Meadowlands in New Jersey tonight. America's Game of the Week coming up, Seattle and Green Bay. Seattle on top of the NFC West. Lions on top of the NFC North. They're 9-4. Atlanta's 7-5, but right behind them, Atlanta has the tiebreaker over Tampa Bay. That'll be real interesting. Washington won today. Minnesota won today. Green Bay needs to win today.
Yeah, and Arizona with a possibility now that they're tied up with Miami of winning. Still in the hunt. A lot of teams still in the hunt this late in the year in the NFC in particular. But you got to feel good if you're a Carolina Panthers fan, at least about coming back home after a long West Coast road trip out there for 2 weeks in a row. Team stayed out there.
And everybody talked about the controversy between Ron Rivera, and Cam Newton. Take a look at the NFC South later today. You got Matt Ryan in action with Atlanta. Drew Brees, New Orleans Saints, and Jameis Winston. That's Brees and Winston. That's special.
Yeah, and they've got to play each other, I want to say, twice in the next 3 weeks, which is a bit odd, but it's part of their schedule that they have in front of them.
Velarde with the punt. Isaiah Burse on the return for San Diego. Trying to get outside. He's brought down at the 26-yard line. A lot of talk about the controversy here after Cam Newton was benched for a play at the start of the game against Seattle, and then Seattle getting the turnover. Well, there's no friction between these two people. Ron Rivera is known as a player's coach, and he wouldn't do anything to hurt that reputation the way he handles the players, but as he said, he wants to treat everybody the same.
Yeah, I think that's a common denominator you've kind of seen with how he handles everyone and how this team really conducts themselves and the culture that's been built here in Carolina.
How did you feel about that whole thing?
San Diego was elected to take that 5-yard penalty and add it to the end of the play. San Diego's ball, first down.
When you saw it unfold, what were your thoughts?
I mean, look, it gets overblown like everything else. You know, the policy for some teams is more lax than others, and you know, it's just tough because you want to have your quarterback always doing the right thing. You don't want to have him be the one that the example is made out of. But in the same breath, at the end of the day, we're just talking about a tie. You know, it's not that big of a deal. I don't know that the first play of last week's game would have went any different if Cam threw it or not. It was good football. It just got tipped and got intercepted.
So Carolina defeats San Diego 28-16. Both teams are 5-8 on the season. Good friends say so long to one another. For Brady Quinn and for Jennifer Hale, this is Sam Rosen. We've got America's Game of the Week coming up.